The sun poured down on the campus playground like a torch, and the air was filled with the harsh squeaking sound of rubber sneakers rubbing against the cement floor, mixed with the salty smell of sweat. Yiji stood outside the three-point line, her chest heaving violently, beads of sweat on her forehead sliding down her determined brow bones. She held the basketball tightly, her knuckles turning white. The teammates behind him were sitting scattered. Some lowered their heads to catch their breath, while others wiped their faces with towels. Han Zhao's round face was unusually elongated at this moment, and he murmured to himself, "Captain, no matter how hard you throw this ball, it's always missed. We've lost so badly these days. The inter-school league hasn't even started yet, but we've already been beaten to the ground by our own people." Lin Fan leaned against the basket, his handsome bangs stuck to his forehead with sweat. He glanced at Yiji. A trace of hidden worry flashed in his eyes, but he pretended to be relaxed. Han Zhao stopped complaining. "The captain led us to practice for 3 hours. My legs are weak, isn't that enough?" His voice was filled with the usual ridicule, but the hand holding the ball was trembling slightly. In last week's warm-up match, they suffered a disastrous defeat to the second team from the school next door, and the mocking eyes on the court were still fresh in my mind. This high school, where the whole school is proud of its basketball club, feels like it has been poured cold water on. When students pass by the playground, they always cast sympathetic glances. Some freshmen even whisper, "Girls' basketball team? I heard it is about to be disbanded." Coach Qingqing stood on the sidelines with his arms folded across his chest, his face as pale as the sky before a storm. His whistle was hung around his neck, shining with cold metal light, and his stern eyes swept over each team member. "Get up! Who allows you to sit and pant? Yiji, you are the captain, take the lead. If these 3 points are missed again, go home and copy the tactical manual 100 times. His roar sounded like thunder, and the leaves beside the playground seemed to tremble. The teammates got up one after another, but their eyes were dim. Han Zhao whispered, "Coach, we are really not good. There are professional talents on the opponent's side. How can we mortals compare?" Yiji gritted her teeth and took a deep breath. Sweat dripped into her eyes and stung her eyes. She jumped up, and the basketball drew an arc in the air. Pop! It smashed out of the frame, bounced twice, and rolled away ruthlessly. The whole place was dead silent. Han Zhao's eyes widened, and then he weakly spread his hands. "It's over, even the captain." Lin Fan clenched his fists and dug his nails into his palms. He wanted to rush forward to comfort him, but he only let out a low sigh. "Sister Ji, maybe we should give up this league." At this low point of despair, the sound of soft footsteps suddenly came from the playground. A figure approached timidly, with long hair, shawl, and a slightly loose school uniform. Shen Qingqing lowered his head and held the transfer student certification booklet in his hand. "She just arrived today. I heard she was transferred from out of town. She is as introverted as a frightened deer." The students passing by pointed and pointed. "What about the new one? I heard that he is good at reading and sports." "Haha, stop making trouble." Shen Qingqing's cheeks turned red. She wanted to take a detour, but was frightened by Qin Feng's roar and stopped on the sidelines. Yiji wiped her sweat, noticed her, and her passionate personality instantly emerged. "Hey, new classmate? Why are you here on the playground? Do you want to join our basketball club?" Her voice was sonorous and powerful, with the domineering air of a captain, but as warm as the spring breeze. Shen Qingqing was startled, and her voice was as thin as a mosquito. I was just passing by. I heard that the basketball team is recruiting." Han Zhao rolled his eyes and whispered to Lin Fan, "Introverted girl? Isn't this team bad enough?" Lin Fan glared at her but didn't have any hope. Qingfeng squinted his eyes and looked at Shen Qingqing. "Trial training. Shoot one from outside the three-point line. If you can't make the shot, get out." His tone was unquestionable. The whole team's eyes were shining like a spotlight. Shen Qingqing's legs began to feel weak and his palms were slippery. She took the ball from Yiji, and the rough touch of the ball made her fingers tremble. The wind on the playground blew her hair and brought the aroma of food from the distant cafeteria, but it couldn't hide the drum-like roar of her heartbeat. I won't," she whispered, and her teammates began to shake their heads. Han Zhao even turned around, unable to bear to look directly at her. Yiji came closer and patted her shoulder. It's okay, give it a try. Basketball is not a person's business, it is a team's dream. On this campus, we are the inexhaustible fire. Get up after losing. Her eyes were as bright as stars, and her infectious power made Lin Fan's heart skip a beat. He thought to himself, the captain is always like this, even strangers can ignite. Shen Qingqing raised his head, nodded timidly, and slowly retreated to the three-point line. The whole audience held their breath. Shen Qingqing closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and beads of sweat fell from the tip of her nose. She jumped up, the basketball was released, drawing a perfect arc, and the air seemed to freeze. Brush. The sound of pure netizens sounded, and a three-pointer was hit. The net swayed gently, and the sunlight penetrated, casting golden light spots. Oh my God! Han Zhao's mouth opened in an O shape, and her eyes were as wide as copper bells. She jumped up suddenly and knocked over the water bottle. Is this a genius? The new guy, are you the hidden boss? Lin Fan's pupil shrank suddenly, and his handsome face turned red instantly, and he rushed forward. With a trembling voice. Impossible. That art. Professional level. Qingqing, where did you learn it? Coach Qin Feng's whistle slipped from his mouth and clinked on the ground. He rubbed his eyes and murmured. God, this girl, a three-point shooter? We found a treasure. The team members burst into cheers, and the playground echoed with applause and screams. Someone blew a whistle. The students passing by stopped and were stunned. The women's basketball team. Reversed? Shen Qingqing blushed to the roots of her ears and took a step back, but was stopped by Yi Zi. She hugged him. Welcome. Qingqing, from now on you are one of us. Yi Zi's hug was warm and firm. The salty smell of sweat mixed with the vitality of youth made Shen Qingqing's defenses collapse instantly. She whispered. Thank you, Captain. Yi Zi let go of her, turned to face the whole team, raised her fists high. See? We are not weak. If we lose, we will find a genius. If we are desperate, we will ignite friendship. In the inter-school league, we want to reach the finals and make the whole school go crazy for us. Who dares to say that we can't do it? Her roar was like a war drum, which excited Han Xiao. Tears filled his eyes. Captain is mighty. Sister Qingqing is awesome. Lin Fan looked at Yi Zi's side face. His heart beat faster. And the hidden secret love was like a flame. He whispered. Sister Ji, I will always fight with you. Qin Feng blew the whistle. This time it was an encouraging whistle. Assemble. Practice tactics again. The new shooter is on the field. Training restarts and the playground is boiling. The squeaking of sneakers, the muffled sound of the ball hitting the frame, and the laughter of teammates intertwined into a symphony of youth. Shen Qingqing gradually integrated into the game, and consecutive three-pointers fell like raindrops. Each hit attracted loud cheers. Han Xiao shouted while running. Qingqing, is your hand a rocket launcher? Ha ha. When Lin Fan passed the ball, he deliberately glanced at Yi Zi. His eyes ambiguous like a whisper under the sunset on the campus. Yi Zi commanded with determination, and with sweat splattering, she felt the long-lost passion. This campus, this basketball court, is their battlefield. As the sun sets, the training finally ends. The atmosphere was as high as ever as the team members gathered their towels and water bottles. Han Xiao swung his backpack. I have a great time today. Go home and show off to my mother. Shen Qingqing lowered his head and smiled, feeling that this strange campus was as warm as home for the first time. Lin Fan approached Yi Zi and handed him the mineral water. Captain, drink some. You are so handsome today. Yi Zi took it and patted him on the shoulder with a smile. Thanks, Xiao Fan. First in the team, I'll talk about it later. Lin Fan blushed, scratched his head and giggled. Just as everyone was preparing to leave, the roar of an engine came from the entrance to the playground. A school bus stopped and a dozen girls filed out of the bus. They were tall and strong, wearing bright jerseys of the rival school team. The captain looked at the audience with a sneer. I heard that this is the girls' basketball team of the 20th high school? We are the favorites for the league championship, the #1 middle school in the city. I came here to challenge you, do you dare to accept it? Their momentum was like a pack of wolves, and the sound of their sneakers on the ground was as uniform as a military formation, and the air was instantly solemn. Passers-by and students gathered around, whispering, The strong team is coming. This is terrible. The afterglow of the setting sun filled the playground like blood, and the air was filled with the astringent smell of freshly cut grass mixed with the strong smell of wristband glue from the opponent's players. The girls from City No. 1 Middle School dispersed like a pack of wolves. Their captain, a girl with a high ponytail and sharp eyes like an eagle, put her hands on her hips and glanced at Yiji's team with a sneer. What? Just now? She screamed so loudly now she's mute? We only played half a practice match. If we lose, we'll see you in the league. Her voice was as sharp as a whistle piercing the air. The students passing by had already formed a circle, and some people whispered, "The No. 1 Middle School is here, the 20th High School is finished. They swept the 3 schools last month. And their average height is 1.75 meters. Qingfeng's face darkened. Yiji's fists clenched and Han Xiao gasped. Are they serious? Lin Fan stood in front of Yiji, with fighting intent in his eyes. Shen Qingqing's hands trembled slightly, but she raised her head. The challenge whistle is about to blow. Can the home court be defended? A powerful enemy is approaching, and their youthful reversal has just begun. Kickoff. The point guard of City No. 1 Middle School dribbled the ball like lightning. The ball bounced on her fingertips with a crisp and rapid sound. She made a fake move and passed Han Xiao. Han Xiao's round body flew into the air and fell into disgrace. It attracted a burst of ridicule from the opponent's camp. Haha, this forward? Is the pig running? The score opened in the blink of an eye. 5 o'clock. Lin Fan gritted his teeth, his handsome bangs were blown by the wind, and he growled. Han Xiao, get up. Sister Ji, change positions.
Je zehei notet, her blat surget.
She stole a layup and succeeded in a layup. The ball frame made a muffled sound, finally regaining 2 points, but the captain of the No. 1 squadron immediately responded with a 3-pointer, and the net flower swiped and the audience gasped. Too stable. XX is over. Yiji's chest heaved slightly, and the sweat had not yet dried. She took a step forward, looking directly at the opponent like a burning torch. Catch it. Coach Qin, the whistle sounds, we will not lose momentum at home. Qin Feng's face was ashen, but he nodded and blew the whistle, and the sharp sound pierced the dusk, like the beating of war drums. The stadium boiled instantly. The squeaking of sneakers on the ground, the whispers of the audience, and the smell of cooking fumes from the canteen in the distance all converged into a suppressed tension. When she caught the ball for the first time, her fingers trembled like autumn leaves. The City No. 1 central defender stared at her and mocked. New face? Go home and study. Shen Qingqing tried to step back for a 3-pointer snap. The ball hit the frame and bounced away, and the opponent counterattacked quickly and scored. The audience buzzed and commented. We made a mistake. Introverted girls really can't do it. Han Xiao wanted to step forward to comfort her, but was stopped by Yiji's eyes. At the second opportunity, Lin Fan caught a glimpse of Shen Qingqing's panic. With a thought in his mind, his crush on Yiji's tenderness extended to the entire team. He dribbled the ball around the defense and made a precise long pass. Qingqing, catch it. The ball arced in the air. Shen Qingqing barely caught it, but nervously shot out of the frame. The whole audience was silent. The leader of the No. 1 squadron laughed loudly. Haha, you are so expressive and yet you lose it? This team is laughing so hard. Shen Qingqing's cheeks were as red as fire. She lowered her head, tears welling up in her eyes, and the rough touch of the sphere was still left on her fingertips. Seeing this, Han Xiao couldn't help but come on the court. She deliberately did a comical split while defending, and fell to the ground. Her round face made an exaggerated grimace. Oh, my leg is broken. My opponent's sister, please forgive me. The whole audience burst into laughter. Even the members of the No. 1 Middle School were stunned. The awkward gap allowed Yiji to steal and counterattack, and hit a layup. Han Xiao got up, stuck out his tongue and winked at Shen Qingqing. Sister, help you slow down, don't cry. Shen Qingqing laughed through her tears, and the ice in her heart melted slightly. Lin Fan whispered on the sidelines. Han Xiao's move is really amazing. His eyes always drifted to Yiji, and that tough profile made his heart beat faster, thinking to himself, if Sister Ji smiles, I will do anything. Yiji led the counterattack like a god of war. She dribbled the ball across half-court, faked a move to get rid of the two of them, and passed to Lin Fan, who opened up for a 3-pointer swipe. Hit! The score was only 5 points behind. The whispers of the audience turned into exclamations. XX high counterattack? Captain Yi is too fierce. The captain of the number 1 squadron changed his face slightly, accelerated his attack, and continuously hit the inside. Han Xiao was knocked away and his nose was bleeding, but Lin Fan was fouled while protecting the frame. Whistle sounds frequently, the smell of sweat and blood mixes in the air. The sunset lengthens the shadow, and the playground is like a blood-stained battlefield. Yiji gritted her teeth. Hold on. We have talented people and a team spirit. She made a 3-point shot at the buzzer, and the ball bounced 3 times on the frame. The whole team screamed, but the final whistle sounded and the score was fixed. City number 1 Middle School narrowly 142-38. The playground fell into deathly silence. The players of number 1 Middle School raised their arms and cheered. Their captain stepped forward, patted Yiji on the shoulder, and said with a prickly tone, "Yes, you are tougher than expected, but you are still far from the league." They filed into the car and left. The roar of the engine reverberated like laughter. The passers-by and students dispersed, their eyes turning from surprise to sympathy. Almost, but we still lost. Han Xiao covered his nosebleed and said aggrievedly, "Captain, we tried our best." "It's..." Lin Fan gasped and hit the ground with his fist. "Damn it, just 2 points." Qingfeng held the whistle in his hand, his face as black as the bottom of a pot. He scanned the whole team, and his eyes stopped on Shen Qingqing. "Qingqing, your talent is fire. Arrow, but my heart is too soft. I lost the ball because of my nervousness, and my introversion harmed the whole team. If this happens again next time, get out of the team." His roar was like thunder, and Shen Qingqing shuddered, and tears finally fell down her cheeks and dripped on her sneakers, smelling salty. The game became intense, with number 1 Middle School leading by 12 points. The students on the side of the playground shook their heads and sighed, and some even turned around and left. "I told you earlier, the women's team can't hold on." Qingfeng clenched his fists and shouted, "Shen Qingqing, come on. Hit them with 3 points." Shen Qingqing's heart was beating wildly. Not long after she had just integrated into the team, the cheers from the sidelines were still echoing in her ears, but now she felt like she was falling into an ice cave. Yiji patted her on the back. "Qingqing, believe in yourself. That day's 3 points belongs only to us." Shen Qingqing nodded and stepped onto the field with weak legs. The jersey was soaked with sweat and stuck to her slender waist. A tacit understanding quietly sprouted at this moment, and the saltiness of sweat in the air was gradually diluted by the warmth of the setting sun. Qingfeng snorted and turned his back. "After the review, let's disperse. Tomorrow is the devil's training. Whoever is late gets out." Yi stood up, raised his fists, and his voice was as loud as metal collision. "Listen, this loss is not the end, but the starting point. If the number 1 middle school in the city is strong, we will train to be 10 times better than them. Start the devil's training plan. Run 5 kilometers every morning and shoot 1,000 shots. Tactical training to the point of vomiting. For the sake of the inter-school league, to make the whole school go crazy for us." Her declaration was like a fire, and Han Zhao's eyes lit up. "Captain is awesome. Devil's training rush?" Lin Fan looked at Yiji. The flames of his crush were rising, and he whispered, "Sister Ji, I will do what I say." Shen Qingqing clenched her fists, feeling belonging for the first time. Yiji took out a few temporarily woven colorful bracelets from her backpack, and twisted them with sports bandages and colorful threads. They sparkled with youthful luster in the sun. "Come, exchange friendship bracelets. This is our oath. Never give up. The whistle sounds, let's burn together." She put it on Shen Qingqing's wrist first, and the rough bandage felt warm to the touch like a bond. Shen Qingqing's tears welled up again, but they were filled with joy. "Captain, I put it on." Han Xiaoho rushed to grab one and waved exaggeratedly. "Look at my friendship lightning ring. It doesn't matter if you lose, I will go back tomorrow." Lin Fan took it from Yiji and accidentally touched it. His heart skipped a beat. Ji smiled and patted him. "Xiao Fan, wear it securely. Ambiguity is ambiguity. Training is the first." Lin Fan giggled, blushing to the ears. "Well, Sister Ji is the most handsome." Qingfeng looked at it from a distance, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and said nothing. The whole team's heart sank. Han Xiao opened his mouth to argue but was blocked by Yiji. Yiji squatted down and gently wiped away Shen Qingqing's tears. The coach is right, but you are our new firebrand. Who doesn't panic when you play for the first time? Remember, basketball is a team, we carry it together. She took Shen Qingqing's hand and conveyed strength with her warm palm. Formally welcome. Join the 20th High School Women's Basketball Club. From now on, you will not fight alone. Shen Qingqing raised her head, her eyes red and swollen but shining. Team, Captain, I will work hard.
队员们围拢，韩潇第一个抱住她。青青姐，刚才姐的劈叉帅吧？下次你教我3分。林凡微笑走近，声音温柔如校园夜风。青青，别听教练吼，他心里是你喂饱。你的弧线，我永远记得。加油，我们一起逆转。他的眼神展露罕见的温柔，让沈青青心头一暖，脸颊微红，低声，谢谢林凡哥。
Early the next morning in the foggy playground, it was the first day of devil training. Yiji arrived early, her backpack filled with water bottles and tactical notebooks, and her whistle poised against her lips. The team members arrived one after another, and Han Xiao yawned. Good morning, Captain. I dreamed of being hit in the market last night. Lin Fan handed over breakfast. Sister Ji, eat some cushions. Qin Feng called the name but frowned. Where is Shen Qingqing? 5 minutes late. As soon as he finished speaking, Shen Qingqing came running out of breath. Her school uniform was messy, her long hair was spread out, and her bracelet flashed in the morning light. She gasped. I'm sorry. My mother at home doesn't let me get up early, saying that girls practicing football is harmful to the body. Yiji's face darkened and her passionate personality surged. Qingqing, training is an oath. Being late means giving up on the team. And your bracelet is a decoration. Shen Qingqing was stunned and her grievances came over her. Captain, I didn't mean it. We just lost yesterday and you are like this. The air solidified instantly. Han Xiao opened his mouth. Lin Fan wanted to persuade. Qin Feng crossed his arms around his chest. Misunderstandings are shrouded like dark clouds, and the team's tacit understanding faces the first crack. The introverted Shen Qingqing, whose pride collides with Yiji's iron blood. And the training whistle has not yet sounded? As night falls, the playground lights turn on. The team members high-five each other and disperse, their bracelets dazzling under the lights like stars twinkling. Han Xiao shouted as he walked. Go home and apply ice to the nosebleed. Qingqing, see you tomorrow. Shen Qingqing touched her bracelet and felt attached to the campus for the first time. Lin Fan sent Yiji to the school gate, and the afterglow of the setting sun stretched the shadows of the two of them, warming them. A hidden whisper. Sister Ji, you led the whole audience today. I admire you. Yiji rubbed his hair. Team hero, thank you. Xiao Fan, don't miss me in your dreams. Lin Fan scratched his head and smiled brightly. The fog wrapped around the playground like a ghost, and the morning breeze mixed with the moist smell of earth made the team members' school uniforms rustle. Shen Qingqing's voice trembled in her throat, and the grievance in her eyes was like a lake bursting its banks. Yiji's face was ashen, and her knuckles turned white when she clenched her fists. The surrounding air seemed to have condensed into frost. Han Zhao's yawn was stuck, and Lin Fan's breakfast bag fell to the ground with a muffled sound. Qin Feng's brows furrowed into the Chinese character Sichuan, and he turned the whistle to his lips, but did not blow it. You didn't mean it? Yiji's voice cracked the fog like a whip. She took a step forward, her tall figure elongating the shadow in the morning light, approaching Shen Qingqing. Yesterday in the loss, you missed 2 3-pointers and you were 5 minutes late today. Devil's training is a blood oath of the team. Your mother, are you talking about hurting your body? Are you kidding us enough by wearing bracelets? Her roar echoed on the iron net beside the playground, and the early students in the distance stopped and whispered. Is there a fight in the women's basketball club? Shen Qingqing's shoulders shrank into a ball, and tears fell down the bridge of his nose, hitting the foggy ground with a tiny pattering sound. She bit her lip, her introverted self-esteem shattering like glass. Captain, what do you know? My mother keeps saying it every day, saying that I transferred to another school just to study, not to die. I made a mistake yesterday, and you all blame me for being soft-hearted. I'm late today and you think I gave up? Then I'm leaving. Genius shooter? What a joke. She pulled off the bracelet suddenly, and threw the colorful thread to the ground with a crisp sound, turned around and ran, her steps staggering in the fog, her long hair flying like black silk. Yiji's chest heaved violently, and regret came like a tide. She squatted down and picked up the broken bracelet. The warmth of Shen Qingqing's palm was still on the rough bandage. Her nose was sore. Damn, I just want to wake her up. Han Zhao's eye circles were red, and there was a dull pain from the nosebleed and old injuries. Captain, we love you as iron-blooded, but Qingqing has a heart of glass. She has a three-pointer. It's such a shame to lose it. Lin Fan gritted his teeth, and his handsome bangs were wet with mist. He rushed forward and grabbed Yiji's arm. Sister Ji Chase. This misunderstanding has broken the team. His touch made Yiji's heart tremble, and the ambiguous current flowed in the crisis. She nodded. Let's run with the whole team. Run 5 kilometers in the morning, find someone first. The entire team was petrified. Han Zhao's round face turned pale, and his mouth opened into an O shape. Sister Qingqing. Stop. Lin Fan's heart felt like being hit by a heavy hammer. He glanced at Yiji, his tough side face was full of cracks at the moment, and he roared, Sister Ji. She didn't mean that, you are too hasty. Qin Feng's whistle finally blew, sharp as a knife cutting through the fog. Stop! Are you falling apart before training has even started? Yiji, you are the captain, control your anger. But Shen Qingqing had already run 10 meters away, and the fog engulfed her figure. Passers-by and students on the side of the playground shook their heads. It's broken up, this team is finished, and the dream of the league is broken. Yiji stopped panting, mist hanging on her eyelashes. She squatted in front of Shen Qingqing, her voice softened by 3 points. Qingqing. I'm sorry. The captain was wrong. He was too iron-blooded and didn't care about your heart. Shen Qingqing raised her head, her eyes swollen like walnuts. Captain, you all think that I should be scolded for not working hard. My mother said that practicing football will ruin my future. And I am caught in the middle, so tired. Lin Fan gasped and leaned over, putting his hands on his knees, and glanced at the two of them with gentle eyes. Qingqing, listen to me, I understand that feeling. Last year I had a crush on a girl. I wanted to be a hero in a basketball game, but she made a mistake in passing the ball. She laughed at me in public and said, I'm a point guard and can't control the ball. My self-esteem was shattered and I hid at home crying for 3 days. I got up and said, failure is the side dish of secret love, and the team is the staple food. Now, I am still pursuing it, although it is ambiguous. He scratched his head, blushing in the mist, and glanced at Yiji, whose heartbeat skipped a beat, and coughed. Xiao Fan, let's talk about the point. Seeing the opportunity, Han Xiao jumped up with her mellow body, stood in front of everyone, and cleared her throat exaggeratedly. Stop. Listen to sisters talk, showtime. Why are you late for Qingqing? Because her mother is a wolf prevention expert, and is afraid that her daughter will encounter perverts when she wakes up early. What happened? We are a group of wolves. Ha. She did an impromptu split, her legs were weak in the fog and she threw herself on the street in a comical manner, lying on her back and pretending to be dead. Oh, my friendship, the leg is broken. Sister Qingqing. Step on me to prove your hard work. The whole team couldn't help but laugh. Han Xiao, you are amazing. Shen Qingqing burst into tears and raised her lips slightly. Han? Sister Han, you fell again. Qin Feng laughed, the farce is over. The game begins. Whoever breaks the ball will be punished. Qingqing, come back to the team and prove yourself. The whistle blew again, Qin Feng took the lead, and the team rushed into the fog like a pack of wolves. The slippery squeak of sneakers stepping on the lawn, the hot breath hitting the face, and the salty feeling of sweat mixed in the air. The students on the playground stared wide-eyed. Still running? Are you still practicing because of internal strife? Their ridicule was like needle pricks, making the back of Yiji's neck feel hot. After running for 2 kilometers, the fog gradually dissipated. On the campus trail, Shen Qingqing was curled up on the edge of a bench, with her knees crossed to her chest, sobbing intermittently like rain hitting banana trees, holding the broken bracelet in her palm, and the colorful thread stained with tears. It was the key pass. Lin Fan made a long pass with an arc, Shen Qingqing stepped back. Everyone held their breath. Her movements were poetic. Her slender arms pulled the bow. The ball came out of her hands and drew a perfect arc swipe. Hollow hit the net, and the trembling buzz of the basket echoed throughout the audience. Shen Qingqing was stunned, then laughed with tears in her eyes. In! Han Xiao screamed and rushed forward. 3 points of genius! Sister Qingqing, you are amazing! Lin Fan's eyes widened and he punched the air with his fist. The arc is perfect! Qingqing, you are our rocket! Qin Feng, his iron face cracked into a smile, and he shook his shoulders with the whistle. Good goal! This is the fire of the team. Passers-by students burst out and exclaimed, XX women's team, this newbie has 3 points, the league is good. Their adoring eyes were like a wave, and the suppressed mist turned into a passionate carnival. Yiji took out the official friendship bracelet from her backpack, woven from colorful nylon and embedded with a small whistle pendant, shining like a badge of youth. She put it on Shen Qingqing first. Formal exchange. Never give up, the whistle sounded, let's burn together. Shen Qingqing burst into tears, but with confidence blooming she put it back on Yi. Captain, thank you, I won't be late again. Mom, I will convince. Han Xiao grabbed one and held it up. My lightning whistle ring. Go to Abuse City No. 1 Middle School. Lin Fan took it from Yiji. When the fingers touched, electric current rushed through him, and he whispered, Sister Ji, when this ring is on your hand, my heart is also bound. Yiji's cheeks were slightly hot, and he rubbed his head. Ambiguous boy, go practice. Qin Feng was the last to put it on with a serious face and a soft face. The whole team swear. The devil trains to the end and the league is reversed. Shoot 1,000 shots. Let's start practicing now. The fog has completely dissipated. The sun has pierced the clouds, the playground is golden, and the air is fresh and clean. Qin Feng blew the whistle, the players formed a circle, the ball bounced, and the ball was passed like lightning and flint. Yiji first passed the ball to Shen Qingqing. Catch it, this is trust. Shen Qingqing's fingers trembled slightly, and she grabbed the ball. The sunlight behind the fog reflected the remaining thread of the bracelet. She took a deep breath. I try. She passed it to Han Xiao, but Han Xiao deliberately missed the ball and the ball rolled away. She was sweating after chasing. Qingqing, great effort. Sister loves you. There were more students in the audience and someone whistled. Reconciled? The women's team is so united. As noon approached, the training took a break. The team members sat on the lawn sweating like rain, and the air was filled with salty and grassy fragrance. Qin Feng wiped his sweat and said in a deep voice, the parent-teacher meeting will be held in the afternoon. Parents heard about the loss and have complained for a long time. They said that the pressure of the game will hurt their children's future. Yiji, what are you going to say? Yiji clenched his fist and the whistle of the bracelet sounded softly. Coach, leave it to me. They questioned, but we used our strength to shut up. But Qingqing, your mother. Shen Qingqing touched the bracelet, her eyes shining with confidence. Captain, I'll tell you when I go home. This ring is my talisman. Han Xiao spit out. The parent-teacher conference has become a battlefield? Sister, prepare for a talk show. Lin Fan approached Yiji and whispered. Sister Ji, no matter what, I support you. In the ambiguous murmur, the shadow of the parent-teacher conference quietly approached, and the mother's doubts ignited a new round of storm? The bells echoed across the campus, the afternoon sunlight slanted across the conference room windowsill, and the air was filled with the musty smell of old wooden tables and the smell of cheap perfume sprayed by parents. The parent-teacher meeting of the girls' basketball club kicked off, and more than 20 long tables were crowded with mothers buzzing, and fathers coughing like muffled thunder. Yiji was sitting in the front row, and the whistle of her bracelet gently hit the edge of the table, making a tinkling sound. Her heartbeat was like a war drum, and beads of sweat slid down the back of her neck, soaking the collar of her school uniform. Shen Qingqing huddled next to her, twisting the hem of her skirt with her introverted fingertips. Her mother's face was as green as before a storm. Qin Feng stood against the wall, the whistle turning between his fingers, his iron face anticipating the storm. Lin Fan's parents handed over their business cards with smiles, and Han Zhao's mother carried a large bag of snacks. The rustling sound of the plastic bags temporarily suppressed the smell of gunpowder. Yiji, your parents called me last night. saying that you are still practicing devilishly in your senior year of high school? The first one to speak out was Yiji's mother. Her voice was as sharp as fingernails scraping a blackboard. She waved the transcript, and the paper shook with a harsh rustle. The city's #1 middle school lost 42-38 in the halftime game. Your captain yelled at his teammates? I heard that the new transfer student ran away crying. Where is his studies? Who is responsible for ruining the college entrance examination? Parents in the audience echoing the buzz like a swarm of bees. Yes, it's a lot of pressure and it's harmful to the body. Yiji's father frowned and slapped the table with his rough hands, making the water glass slosh. Daughter, I support your dream, but don't be a sports machine. The future is more important than the ball. Yiji's cheeks were burning, and her self-esteem was like a needle prick. She bit her lip and lowered her head. Mom and Dad. The words stopped, and the air in the conference room solidified into lead, making her breathless. Shen Qingqing's mother took over, her voice as cold as ice. My Qingqing changed her school to study, but she got up early every day in the basketball club, injured her knees and ruined her future. I heard that the captain scolded her for being late in public. How can an introverted child bear it? A genius shooter for being unsociable? What a joke. Quit the team immediately. She glared at Shen Qingqing. Her tearful daughter huddled up. Her shoulders trembled like autumn leaves. Her broken bracelets were hidden in her sleeves, and the colored threads stung her palms. Parents around them whispered. The new transfer student really doesn't get along. Is there a fight within the team? Hanzhao's mother wanted to calm down and handed out a bag of potato chips. Oh, let's have some snacks to calm down. Our Xiao said that the captain's strictness is love. But the crackling sound of pieces breaking only earned him a blank stare, and he smashed a bag on the table. Snacks gag? Where's the child's lifeblood? Embarrassment filled the air, and Han Xiaoyuan's face turned pale. She hid behind her mother and whispered, Mom, you are adding fuel to the fire. Lin Fan's mother tried to support her and smiled softly. We fanners say that when practicing basketball as a team, pressure turns into power. Before she finished speaking, she blurted out unintentionally. He also has a crush on the captain, practicing to be a hero and saving the beauty. The elders widened their eyes and snickered. Secret love? Ambiguity on campus affects learning. Lin Fan's father coughed awkwardly, and his handsome son blushed to his ears. He pinched his fists under the table and glanced at Yiji. The ambiguity was instantly extinguished by ridicule. Yiji's heart trembled, and electricity rushed through her body, but it was mixed with embarrassment. She lowered her head to avoid Lin Fan's gaze, her pride colliding with misunderstanding like a hidden arrow. Qin Feng frowned and the whistle stopped. He took a step forward and his voice was like a hammer hitting the table. Parents, listen to me. The meeting room fell silent for a moment, and the parents' whisper stopped abruptly as they stared at the stern coach. Qin Feng took a deep breath, and the salty aroma of potato chips in the air hit his nostrils. He slowly said, Basketball is not harmful to the body but a salvation. The pressure of senior high school is overwhelming, and the schoolwork is boring for the children. The court is a release valve. In the game at City #1 Middle School, we were only 42-38. Lost by 4 points, new transfer student Shen Qingqing's 3-point arc. Amazing. But the team rift was repaired today. He blew the whistle and the parents' eardrums buzzed and their eyes widened. What does the whistle mean? Qin Feng took it out of his backpack. Demonstration of bracelets, colorful threads flashing and pendants jingling. This is an oath. Never give up. Devil's training. Running 5 kilometers in the morning and shooting 1,000 shots. It's not torture, it's tempering. Data says that athletes' brains can resist stress, and their admission rate to higher education is 20% higher. Parents, they looked at each other, and Yiji's mother murmured, Data? True or false? Qin Feng's iron face remained unchanged and continued. Qingqing mother, your daughter is introverted? The court let her bloom. She scored 5 3-pointers in a row, and the whole school screamed. Quit the team. The genius rocket flew away. Who will win the league? Side reactions erupted like waves. Hanzhao's mother was stunned for a moment and her eyes widened. Coach, you said my Xiao did a split talk show? Pistachios. She laughed and the snack bags flew around and distributed them, making a crunching sound to dissolve the frost. Lin Fan's father patted his son on the shoulder. Boy, you have a crush on practicing football? Dad supports it. Lin Fan was relieved but secretly glanced at Yiji with a hint of jealousy. Her eyes were still on Shen Qingqing. Shen Qingqing's mother trembled. 5 3-pointers? Qingqing. Really good. Shen Qingqing raised her head, flashing confidence, and caressed the bracelet. Mom, this ring is a talisman. Have I convinced you? Her mother's eyes were red, and the parents whispered and praised. The women's team, this coach is awesome. Strict and disciplined. Yi's parents looked at each other, and her mother handed the water. Daughter, you are the captain, your parents support you, but don't give up on your studies. Yiji relaxed, tears welling up in his eyes. Thank you. The air in the conference room warmed up, and there were sporadic applause, and the smell of potato chips and sweat mixed into a wonderful youthful atmosphere. After the meeting, the parents filed out, secretly admiring. This team is worth watching in the league. The team members were relieved. Qin Feng patted Yiji on the shoulder. Well done, Captain. Next step. Explore the training camp and expand your horizons. But Yiji's eyes locked on Shen Qingqing, and he pulled her to a secluded tree-lined avenue beside the playground. The setting sun elongated the silhouettes of the two people, the leaves rustled, and the scent of grass mixed with the moist soil in the air. Yiji squatted down, her voice as soft as the spring breeze. Qingqing, I understand the look in your mother's eyes at the parent-teacher conference. Let me share a secret. When I was in elementary school, my parents were also opposed to it. They said that girls practicing ball was rude and ruined their future. I hid on the balcony and cried, and the basketball hit the wall with a bang, and my self-esteem was shattered. Until we beat the scumbag team in a street game, my dad shouted on the phone. My daughter, I'm so excited. She rolled up her sleeves and showed her old scars. This is not just about winning, it's about saving self-esteem. Shen Qingqing's eyes widened, tears rolled down and hit the leaves, making a thin crackling sound. She held Yiji's hand, and the whistles of the bracelets clinked together. Captain, why are you so bitter behind your iron-blooded background? My mother always said that I was introverted and unsociable, and I became even more lonely after transferring to another school. I was late yesterday morning because I was afraid of hurting my knees, but you came after me, and the warmth. For the first time, I felt that the team was a family. Emotional games surged and self-esteem surged. The collision turned to ambiguous dependence. Shen Qingqing leaned forward and touched Yiji's shoulder lightly with her forehead. The girl's body fragrance mixed with the smell of sweat hit her nostrils. Captain, like a sister. Thank you for sharing your dream. My 3 points are for you. Yiji's heart softened and he hugged her tightly, his long hair tangled. Fool, let's burn together. The whistle sounds and youth will never die. The sun is scorching hot. The ball hits the frame with a muffled sound. The sweat splashes and the mist lingers. The passing practice is like a war drum, and the laughter and gasping of the players are intertwined into a youthful symphony. Shen Qingqing hit 5 3-pointers in a row, each one drawing screams from the audience. Han Xiao shouted while throwing. Qingqing godsister arc. Lin Fan's eyes lingered on Yiji, and the ambiguity was like a hidden fire. More and more students gathered on the playground. This team is invincible. Yiji raised his whistle high and his blood boiled. Rest for 5 minutes. Next round of tactical sparring until vomiting. Lin Fan hid behind a tree and eavesdropped, feeling his heart twisting. The handsome face was twisted, and his fist hit the tree trunk, making a muffled sound. He saw the hug, and the flames of ambiguity turned into flames of jealousy. Sister Ji is so gentle to Qingqing? What are my whispers and heartache? With his self-esteem shattered, he turned and left, stepping heavily on the fallen leaves, making a crunching sound. Han Xiao saw it from a distance, stuck out his tongue and whispered, Ouch, Xiaofan is jealous? Ambiguous triangle. As night fell and the campus lights dimmed, Qin Feng summoned the entire team to the playground. Backpacks piled high, adventure gear gleamed. Ropes, compasses, first aid kits, and the smell of tape and new shoe glue filled the air. The training camp expands the stage. Off-campus camping, simulated league adventures, practice team tacit understanding. Set off tomorrow, 2 days and 1 night in the mountains, the whistle blows and the crisis is reversed. The team members blew the whistle excitedly, and Han Xiao held up his backpack. Sister snacks are full. Adventure party. Shen Qingqing was full of confidence. Yiji nodded enthusiastically, and Lin Fan forced a smile, hiding his jealousy. The wreckage of the bus was leaning on the edge of the cliff. Black tire smoke was rising, and the pungent smell of burnt rubber mixed with the wet earth hit your face. In the early morning, the mountain fog was like a ghost. The roar of wild beasts seeped out from the forest, and the faint sound of claws scraping the bark of the trees was chilling. The team members stumbled out of the car. Their backpacks smashed to the ground. The rope compass rolled loosely, and their screams echoed like broken glass cutting through the air. Han Xiao squatted on the ground with his head in his arms, his round face as white as paper, and his teeth chattering. It's over, it's over. The adventure has turned into a hell. Mom's snacks were all smashed to pieces, making such a loud crunching sound. I still have to chew dirt before I starve to death. Shen Qingqing. Her legs went limp and fell into Yiji's arms, her introverted eyes widened with fear, and tears patted on her shoulders. Captain Beast? We can't go back. Lin Fan punched the car door, making a muffled sound that shook his hands, and his handsome face was twisted with jealousy. Strongly holding on. Don't panic. But this fog, this cliff. The whole army was wiped out before the League, who can believe it? Yiji's heart beat like thunder, and she protected Shen Qingqing tightly, but her blood was crushed by despair. Coach Qin, what should I do?
Guan Guan Said.
The team's eyes were like arrows shooting at Qin Feng. His iron face was as solid as a rock in the fog. The whistle blew sharply and the fog trembled. Everyone listens to the order. Check the backpack and take roll call. The crisis is training. The whistle blows and the reversal begins. The morale that had just been resolved at the parent-teacher meeting collapsed instantly. The team members glared at each other and buzzed in despair like a swarm of bees. The bus is broken, there is no signal, and the roar of wild beasts is so close. Why do you want to risk your life by exploring in the third year of high school? Qin Feng waved his thick hand, and the smell of tape and new shoe glue was strong in the air. He grabbed the compass and threw it to Yiji. The captain takes the lead, and the company leads the southeast forest trail with ropes tied around the waist. Lin Fan is guarding the team, Han Xiao is reporting the numbers, and Shen Qingqing is observing the road signs. The genius shooter is not blind. The team members stood up tremblingly. Their backpacks were heavy on their shoulders. Their footsteps made a crunching sound on fallen leaves, and the shadows of trees in the fog were like ghost claws clawing at their hearts. Shen Qingqing twisted her fingers and whispered, I'm introverted, I can't see the road signs clearly. Han Xiao stuck out his tongue. Sister Qingqing, don't be a coward. Otherwise, you'll get lost and starve to death. Lin Fan glanced at Yiji's protective figure like a knife and felt sad. Protect her again. What about me? Yiji bit her lips, her pride burning, and her whistle bracelets jingled together. Let's go. Never give up. Deep in the forest, the mist is as sticky as spider silk. The branches and leaves snap and sting. The wild boar in the distance hums and roars, and the fishy smell hits your nostrils. Half an hour later, the whole team was lost. The compass was spinning wildly. The cliff loomed into the darkness below, and the wind howled like a ghost crying. Han Xiao collapsed first. I went around the circle 3 times, ate all the snacks, and my stomach growled like thunder. We became forest monkeys, and the League dream was shattered into mud. The team members slumped down, their pants soaked in mud and freezing cold. Lin Fan gasped and glared at Shen Qingqing. New transfer student, where is your shooting eye? Genius? A joke. Tell me earlier. How good it would be to quit the team. Shen Qingqing huddled up with tears in her eyes, and her introverted self-esteem was shattered. I can't see clearly. I'm sorry. Yiji knelt down in distress and held her cold hand. Qingqing, don't listen. Let's. But despair was like a lead, and Qin Feng frowned. If you go around again, your morale will be destroyed. Suddenly, Shen Qingqing raised his head, his tear-stained eyes glistening like an eagle locking on the break of a vine behind the fog. She stood up abruptly, pointed to a vague stone tablet 50 meters away with trembling fingertips, and her voice whispered from the inside to a crisp voice. That. Road sign. Archer's Arc, wind and fog refraction angle 7 degrees. Mossy green corner of the tablet is southeast, 3 kilometers facing the camp. The whole team. Eyes widened, the stone monument loomed in the mist. Han Zhao's round mouth was O-shaped. Sister Qingqing, are your eyes open? Introversion turns into a detective. Lin Fan rubbed his eyes and looked again. His handsome face was shocked. No way. The fog is so thick, I am blind to control the ball. How could she? Qin Feng's face broke into a rare smile. Genius rocket. Qingqing, lead the way. Shen Qingqing burst into confidence, her inner shell shattered, and she grabbed Yiji's bracelet and jingled. Captain, follow me. The team members followed each other. The footsteps changed from muddy staggering to rhythmic trampling, and Han Xiao shouted, Qingqing is awesome. Pistachio upgrade, I'll give you potato chips. Oh, it's broken, eat soil to make up for it. A wave of admiration surged from the side. Shen Qingqing's back was like a star in the fog, and the friendship bracelet shone like a talisman. The river ahead roared, and the rapids were like the mouth of a beast. The broken wooden bridge tilted and swayed, and the water splashed on the ankles and was freezing. Qin Feng whistled. Cross the river. Tie the rope, company. But the water surged, and the waves hit the rocks with a deafening roar. Han Xiao hugged the tree and shook his legs. Drown! Fat girl, I can't float. Yiji took a tentative step, slipped and fell, and saw she fell into the river. Her pride was frightened. It's over, it's... Lin Fan rushed out like an arrow, holding her waist tightly with his handsome arm, and swung the rope to the bridge with his other hand. His muscles were bulging and beads of sweat were flying. Sister Ji, hold on to me. He half dragged and half hugged her across the bridge, and the water spray soaked the body of the school uniform, and the girl's body fragrance mixed with the river's smell. Yiji blushed and her heart skipped a beat. Ambiguity ran through her. Lin Fan. Thank you. The team members on the shore stared and Han Xiao whistled. Wow! The ball-controlling prince saves the beauty, so handsome. The jealousy is gone. Shen Qingqing bit her lips lightly, feeling faintly disappointed. Brother Fan is so kind to the captain. Qin Feng nodding. Lin Fan, well done. Team escort. Lin Fan let go and locked eyes with Yiji affectionately, but with jealousy. Sister Ji, I can jump off the cliff for you. But Yiji smiled awkwardly and said, It's a joke, we have a deep love for teammates. The misunderstanding was like a secret arrow. Lin Fan's self-esteem was shattered, and he held back with fists. The river passes through the forest, and as the sun rises the camp looms. Open fire pit, tent stand, gurgling stream, sweet rosin and wildflower nectar. The team members collapsed and reveled, and Han Xiao told jokes to maintain morale. Oh, I just lost my way like a pig on the ground. I said. Teammates, stop squatting, the camp is in the pigsty in front. Ha ha. The whole team burst into laughter. Laughter like bells echoed in the forest, and their muddy faces were cracked and bright. Qin Feng divided the equipment. Put up the tent. Make a fire. After the crisis, the tacit understanding will rise. The campfire was blazing at night, the flames licked the air and crackled. The smell of rosin smoke warmed the lungs, and the starry sky was filled with diamonds. The team members sat around, clinking bracelets and whistles, and vowed never to give up. Yiji pulled Shen Qingqing to sit close to her. The firelight reflected their faces red, and the girl's body temperature conveyed an ambiguous dependence. She whispered, Qingqing, are you angry with your mother's eyes at the parent-teacher meeting? In fact, I have misunderstood you. I was late on the first day of transfer. I thought I was a genius and was arrogant. I was heartbroken when I yelled at you. Self-esteem collided, and the sisters misunderstood deeply. Shen Qingqing leaned on her shoulder. Her forehead touched lightly. Her long hair tangled and scented with grass. Captain, you are like a sister. I am introverted and afraid of hurting my knees and ruining my dreams, but you share childhood scars. I understand. Save your self-esteem on the court. 3 points for you. The embrace deepened and the fire elongated the figure, and Han Xiao blinked. Oh, the sisters are so ambiguous. Be careful, Lin Fan is going to get angry. Lin Fan felt jealous and stood up to hand over the kettle. His voice trembling, but he couldn't hide it. Sister Ji, after the parent-teacher meeting, I eavesdropped on that hug and was heartbroken. It wasn't about teammate friendship, it was, I like you. From the moment I passed the ball to you for the first time. The electric current hit my heart. The whole place was silent, and the flames crackled like a heartbeat. Yiji was stunned, Her face was as hot as fire, and the ambiguous self-esteem collided and a misunderstanding broke out. Lin Fan, are you joking? There is ambiguity in the team. The league is important. Just be like sisters. Lin Fan's eyes dimmed, his self-esteem shattered into ashes. He turned around and took his back. It's a joke. Yes. Shen Qingqing gently held Yiji's hand to appease the worries, and the emotional entanglement was like a vine. Qin Feng threw firewood and his iron face softened, and he rarely spoke in depth. Behind the harshness there is a story. When I was young, my father Yan said, if you lose on the court, you will lose your life in the college entrance examination. I hid in the warehouse and cried. The basket hit the wall with a bang, and my self-esteem was shattered. But the coach saved me. The whistle sounded, and I came back to win the provincial competition. From then on, Yin is love, quenching you, we are rockets. The players' eyes were red, and Han Xiao wiped away tears and smiled. Coach, it turns out that the simulation league is going to be hot. Lin Fan lowered his head, turning the whistle on his bracelet, and said with jealousy, the league? I control it to the extreme. Yiji nodded enthusiastically. The whistle sounds, youth will never die. For 2 days and 1 night, survival challenges tempered the tacit understanding. Climbing cliffs with ropes, flying at night with a compass, dressing wounds with first aid kits, and making laughter and tears intertwined. Returning to the campus bus, the team members' backpacks are light and their hearts are heavy with ties. The bell rang, the heat wave was rolling on the playground, and the first match of the league group stage, the strong enemy of the city's #1 middle school, reappeared. In that arch-rival, which only lost by 4 points at 42:38, the coach roared, blow the whistle, suppress their new transfer students. Shen Qingqing locked eyes in a 3-point arc, and her inward shell was shattered. My rocket? A chance to shine? Yiji shook hands with the ring, blood boiling. Lin Fan's eyes were complicated when controlling the ball, and Qin Feng's whistle flashed coldly. The whistle is about to sound, reversing the miracle. Who is in charge? The heat wave in the playground is rolling. The sun is like a fireball baking the plastic floor. The smell of burnt rubber mixed with the green grass is tangy to the nose. The whistle is sharp and piercing the air. Qin Feng raises his iron arm high, and the whistle blasts like thunder. The whistle is sounding. Rockets. Attack. The audience was filled with excitement. Parents in the audience waved colorful flags, and the changes after the parent-teacher meeting came like a flood. Yiji's mother shouted, come on, Ji. Mom believes in you. The sound was deafening, and Shen Qingqing's mother wiped her eyes with tears. Qingqing, Mom is wrong, shoot. But the old enemy of city #1 middle school was already in formation. The leader Wang Yan, the rival who only lost by 4 points at 42:38, sneered, flipped his ponytail into the air and roared, new transfer student? Enough of camping. I will blow up your rockets today. The referee threw the ball, and there was a dull sound of muscles clashing in the ball's circle. Yiji jumped up with enthusiasm, and when he got the ball, Lin Fan shot out like an arrow, spinning the ball with his handsome fingers, and the rubber squeaked against the floor. The start was in full swing. Lin Fan had complicated eyes when controlling the ball. He glanced at Yiji's back. His Cold War jealousy turned into a precise pass. The ball hit Han Zhao's hands like a meteor. Her round body was like a tank on the fast break. Her footsteps vibrated on the floor. She faked past the defense and scored a layup under the basket, with a net score of 2 points. The whole team shouted, and Han Xiao stuck out his tongue and twirled. Pistachio's first kill. #1 middle school, eat my potato chips. Oh, no potato chips, eat the ball. The audience burst into laughter. Yi fisted his palms and directed with excitement. Lin Fan middle. Han Xiao cover. But sure, #1 middle school counterattacked fiercely. Wang Yan shot a 3-pointer from outside the arc, and the ball whizzed into the net, leading by 3 points. The audience gasped, and the parents clenched their fists and whispered, are we going to lose by 4 points again? Qin Feng frowned, and his whistle flashed with cold light. As the game progressed, sweat splattered like rain. The school uniform was soaked and clinging to the body. The girl's body fragrance mixed with sweat and sourness hit her nose, and the floor was slippery, making her feet stagger. Yiji was hard on the inside. Her elbow collided with her bones and her self-esteem was on fire. Pass it clear. Lin Fan controlled the ball and broke through, His handsome face was twisted with jealousy and suppressed. The ball was thrown in a perfect arc. Shen Qingqing caught the ball from outside the three-point line. His introverted eyes locked on the basket, but the pressure was overwhelming. Pressing on the top, City No. 1 Middle School defended a double team, taunting like a knife. Transfer student, you can't see the road signs clearly in the fog, and the basket is blind? Shen Qingqing's fingers trembled, and the shot missed the frame and buzzed. The ball hit the backboard and bounced away. Wang Yin grabbed 2 fast break points and fell behind 4:2. Han Siyuan's eyes widened. Sister Qingqing. Hold on. But Shen Qingqing's self-esteem was shattered. She shrank her shoulders and lowered her head, and her introverted shell reappeared. Pressure. Yiji rushed up to her in distress, holding her sweaty hand. Qingqing, you will lead the way during the camping trip. You are a spy. But after losing 2 goals in a row, the No. 1 Middle School drew to 10:4. And the audience hummed and taunted. Rockets? Camping went bad. Parents will blow the whistle. Reality is ironclad. During the halftime break, the water bottle on the bench clattered to the ground, and Qin Feng's iron fist hit the table with a loud bang. Make mistakes again and again. Qingqing, you are a waste after 3 minutes? Where's the camping chain? The whistle blows, wake up. Shen Qingqing sat on the ground with weak legs, tears in his eyes. The floor was hit with a bang, and her mother shouted at the table. Qingqing, Mom supports me. After the parent-teacher meeting, I won't force you to do your homework anymore. Shoot. But the pressure was like lead, and the team members glared at each other. Lin Fan gasped and glared at Shen Qingqing. New transfer student pressure? Alliance? This game is not a camping game. I will pass the ball to you, it's a waste. Jealousy flashed, his eyes locked with Yiji's eyes, and Yiji's pride collided, shouting back. Lin Fan, shut up. Teammates, stop fighting. The ambiguous Cold War was like an ice knife scratching the heart. Fan Quan pinched and endured. It's the camaraderie of teammates. Han Xiao squatted with his head in his hands. It's over, I can't laugh at the pistachios, and the snacks taste bitter. The whole team hummed in despair, and the parents' chair whispered. Support in vain? Losing the team, the dream is broken. The whistle blew in the second half, and City No. 1 Middle School led by 18:8 and 10 points. Wang Yin taunted. Captain Yi, hot blood? Hot blood. Transfer students, go home and study. Yiji gritted her teeth and carried the inside line hard, but the foul whistle blew when she scored. The whistle was as sharp as a needle pricking the ear. The floor was stained with blood, and the smell of sweat and blood hit her nostrils. Lin Fan made a mistake in controlling the ball, and was intercepted for a fast break. His handsome face turned pale. Damn! Han Xiao hit his face with a fast break layup and blocked the shot. He groaned and fell to the ground, his round face swollen. Ouch, fat girl is suffering. The score reached 25-12. The audience turned their backs. Shi Zhongxing is stable. The rocket fell off the cliff. Qin Feng's iron face showed blue veins. Hang on. Parents. Look. The parents' table suddenly burst out, and Yiji's mother stood up and waved her arms. Yiji, the whistle sounded reversal. Shen Qingqing's mother cried. Qingqing, 3 points from my mother. Han Zhao's mother handed over the snack bag. Daughter, laugh. The support of the parents' meeting was overwhelming, and the team members were filled with excitement. At the critical moment, when the offense and defense were switching, Lin Fan controlled the ball and passed it deep. The ball hit Shen Qingqing's chest and she stumbled to catch it. She was double-teamed from outside the three-point arc. The pressure was like a cliff. Her introverted eyes flashed with despair. I can't. Wang Yan, the No. 1 middle school student in the city, laughed ferociously. Good for nothing. But suddenly the colorful friendship bracelet on Shen Qingqing's wrist shines in the sun, and the jingle jingles like a camping oath echoing. Hugging by the fire, Yiji's forehead touching tenderly. Sisters never give up. Lin Fan's hero saving the beauty by the river but heartbroken and turning the force. Qin Feng's iron-blooded story quenching the rocket. Memories exploded like rockets, her eyes turned from inward whispering to sharp falcon. She threw away the defense, her footsteps creaked on the floor. Her shooting arc was perfect. The ball whirled and hit the net, and the net was brushed crisply. 3 points. 25:15. The audience was silent for a second, and then the whole place exploded. Han Xiao jumped up in an O shape with a round mouth. Sister Qingqing. The rocket is launched, and the detective's eyes are open with a three-pointer. Lin Fan rubbed his eyes in shock and his handsome face cracked. Impossible. The road signs in the fog are already there. This basket? The camping quenching chain is really awesome. City number 1 middle school was panicking, and Wang Yan shouted at her teammates. Suppress her. But Shen Qingqing was confident that her shell was shattered, and she turned into a cheetah inwardly. Yiji covered the ball and yelled, Qingqing, shoot! Lin Fan controlled the ball with precision and passed the ball like a laser. His second three-pointer was shot from the top of the arc, and the defense jumped into the air. She leaned back and the ball flew into the air with a tearing sound and entered the net. 28:18 reversal. The parents in the audience went crazy. Yiji's mother hugged Shen's mother. Genius daughters. Qin Feng smashed his palms with an iron fist. Rocket. Continuous shooting. The third shot, oppressing the whole audience, Shen Qingqing's eyes locked, sweat splattered on his face and flashed, bracelets and whistles jingled. Camping rope climbing cliff tacit understanding. Compass night flight accurate. First aid bandage wound quenching chain all appeared. She threw a super long three-pointer. The ball fell like a meteor and hit the net, swish swish. Led by 6 points at 31:25. The whole place was in an uproar, and Han Xiao hugged Shen Qingqing and spun around. Sister Qingqing 3 kills in a row. Pistachio is crying. The potato chips are not enough awesome. Lin Fan's eyes were full of admiration and complicated, and he murmured, transfer student. No rocket core. Yiji burst into tears and rushed to hug. Qingqing, sisters are turning around. Shen Qingqing touched her shoulders and foreheads, and the girl's body temperature was ambiguous, smiling. Captain like a camping fire. Never give up. The final whistle sounded, and the Rockets won by 5 points at 35:30. The whole team hugged each other, their noses filled with sweat and tears. The floor shook and cheered. Parents rushed to the sidelines to wave whistle ribbons. Qin Feng rarely supported the players. Rockets, the whistle sounds, youth is burning. Yiji was moved to tears and held up the handshake ring. Parent-teacher meetings, camping leagues. We won. Lin Fan loosened his fist and locked Yiji affectionately, but suppressed the Cold War. Congratulations, teammate. Han Xiao wiped away her tears and smiled. The first battle was reversed, but the next one was fierce. But Sister Qingqing, the pressure is so strong. The introversion is flying. Shen Qingqing's confidence bloomed, and her mother hugged her red eyes. Daughter, mom is proud. The lights in the audience stretched like stars, and the emotions were released like a volcano, and the readers' hearts were filled with joy. The carnival in the locker room dispersed, the team members put back their backpacks and adventure equipment, the rope and compass flashed memories, the afterglow of the setting sun shone on the playground, and the lawn smelled of honey. Yijila and Shen Qingqing whispered, Sisters, let's celebrate tonight and eat Han Xiao snacks. But suddenly the phone buzzed and Lin Fan rushed in with a pale face. Sister Ji, it's broken. The team exploded. Rumors say Shen Qingqing wants to transfer to the team. Wang Yan, the number 1 middle school player in the city, said, The Rockets are not worthy of being a genius, so come to our championship team. The whole team's eyes widened, and Han Xiao dropped her potato chips. Sister Qingqing? That's impossible. Where is the camping oath? Shen Qingqing was stunned. Her bracelets trembled, and her introverted eyes reappeared. I didn't hear. Yiji was heartbroken. Her pride collided with panic. Qingqing, is it fake? The friendship crisis is coming again. Qin Feng frowned. Check it out. League leader, before the whistle, guard the Rockets. The sunset stretches the shadow, the crisis surges, the miracle of youth, who can reverse it? The setting sun is like blood, and the plastic floor of the playground reflects the dazzling red light. The figures of the team members turn into twisted ghosts. The residual fragrance of wild flowers on the lawn is mixed with the soreness of sweat. The wind rustles the fallen leaves and whispers, like a whisper of crisis. The screen of Lin Fan's mobile phone still lit up with group chat messages, and Wang Yan's avatar mocked and flicked her ponytail. Genius shooter, little rocket pond, come to the Big C in number 1 middle school. The whole team froze. Han Zhao's bag of potato chips fell to the ground. His round face turned pale and his round mouth trembled. Sister Qingqing. This is fake, right? The vows made on the camping fire. The potato chips are broken. And the heart is broken. Shen Qingqing's bracelet jingled slightly, and the colorful rope shone like tears in the sunset. His introverted eyes were covered with shadows, and he lowered his head and murmured, "I didn't heard." His voice was as thin as a mosquito's chirping, and was blown away by the wind. Yiji's heart was like a knife, and her self-esteem was like fire but melted into ice. She turned around sharply, her passionate eyes locked on Shen Qingqing. Her voice trembled to suppress her anger. "Qingqing, tell me, is it true that the number 1 middle school is poaching? 3 consecutive three-pointers in the first game. The moment the detective locked eyes with the basket, I believed that your sister would never give up." The support from the parent-teacher conference and the touching of foreheads during the camping trip were all fake. Her fingers tightened on the bracelet, and the rope pinched into her palms, and sweat dripped down her forehead and into her lips. Shen Qingqing's legs weakened and backed away, hitting the ropes of his backpack and making a muffled sound. He was wrapped inward and his tears hit the floor. "Captain, I didn't. The pressure just broke the shell." Wang Yin glared at me after the game and said, "A waste of talent. I just want the rockets." But the words were intermittent, and his eyes dodged like out-of-focus road signs in the fog. The whole team hummed and whispered, and Han Xiao squatted on his knees with his eyes red and swollen. "Sisterhood is broken? Pistachios can't laugh and snacks are all bitter." Lin Fan's handsome face was livid, and his phone clenched in his fist. His burning jealousy turned into a desire to investigate. He took a step forward, but the affectionate Yiji turned to Shen Qingqing. "I admire the new transfer student who has made a 3-point comeback, but rumors are flying all over the sky, and screenshots of Wang Yan's private messages are in the group, saying that your mother is nodding. Find out, don't let the rocket implode." His fingers flew against the screen, the wind blew his hair, and the sunset pulled him into a lone wolf. Qin Feng stepped forward with his iron arms, the whistle turned and flashed with cold light, and he frowned like a mountain. "Shut up! The whole team goes back to the locker room. No chaos before the whistle. Lin Fan, you check, I will train. Friendship bracelets are not decorations, and camping chain quenching is not child's play." The voice was like thunder, and the floor shook, but the team members' eyes sparkled with each other, and their self-esteem collided like hidden thunder. The lights in the locker room are dim, the iron cabinets are closing with a clanging sound, and the air is filled with hot and sweaty smells. The team members are shoulder to shoulder but thousands of miles apart. Yiji slid and sat against the wall, hugged her chest with her knees and shouted in a low voice, "Qingqing, why didn't you tell me earlier? Hug in the first game, my forehead is warm with you. Sisters rely on transferring teams? Where is my self-esteem? My leadership and teammate friendship are all shattered." Shen Qingqing shrunk and burst into tears inwardly. She tightened her bracelet like a lifeline. "Captain, believe me." Wang Yan blocked me after the game and said, "The championship team is waiting for you, the 3-point queen." I shook it off. "Let's run away. Mom supports the Rockets, she won't." The words were choked and Han Xiaoyuan wiped her tears with her hands, but she tried to smile but twisted. "Sister Qingqing, it's a prank. It's like getting lost on a camping trip. I hide potato chips to scare you, I'm loyal." She hugged Shen Qingqing, gasping for breath, but Shen Qingqing pushed away with desperate eyes. "Han Xiao, the pressure is back, the introverted shell is back, the detective is blind." The wind roared outside Lin Fan's door. He slid against the wall and sat down, text messages on his mobile phone rushing through. His handsome face was pale and sweat rolled down his face. "Sister Ji, I found out that Wang Yin had a fake account. She secretly photographed her mother chatting with her after the game, and poached messages and photos, which went viral in the group. Number 1 middle school wants to mess with our hearts. On the eve of the semifinals, it's a dirty trick." He rushed through the door, his voice trembling like a candle in the wind. The team members' eyes widened. Han Zhao's round mouth jumped in an O-shaped shape and the potato chips flew away. Shui Lin Fan, brother detective. Fake? Pistachio resurrected and killed Wang Yin. But Yiji's self-esteem was still stinging, and she stood up and asked Lin Fan, "How did you know so quickly?" "Enough internal fighting, Lin Fan. Are you jealous, Cold War, or selfish?" Lin Fan looked at her with a complicated look. "Sister Ji. No. For rockets for you. He swallowed half a sentence. Qingqing smashed the cabinet with his iron fist, and the whistle blew harshly and cut through the suffocation. Enough! The misunderstanding is resolved. The crisis is suppressed. Increase the training, individual sparring. Yiji, teach Qingqing the leader's roar. The blood is infected. Qingqing teach Yiji the shooting technique and the divine eye lock arc. Lin Fan, control the ball accurately without mistakes. Han Xiao, cover and laugh to break the pressure. The afterglow of the sunset sprinkled blood through the window, and the floor creaked and footsteps were messed up. The night lights on the playground were turned on. The cold wind blew through the grass, and the team members were divided into groups. Yiji pulled Shen Qingqing inside and shouted passionately, "Qingqing, look at my eyes." The leader is not carrying the injury, but shouting to wake up the whole team. It's like a parent-teacher meeting. Your mother yells for shooting, and I yell for sisters to never give up. Try roaring, cover in the middle. Shen Qingqing trembled inwardly. Cover, roar. Her voice was as weak as the wind. Yiji's self-esteem was burning, and he grabbed her shoulder and shook her. Loud. The pressure collapses. Roar it to pieces. Shen Qingqing tried to roar, but her voice was cracked but filled with tears. Han Xiao admired her with round eyes on the roadside. Sister Qingqing leads the bud. Pistachio roar. But after roaring 3 times in a row, Shen Qingqing gasped and collapsed and sat down. Captain! I can't do it. The shadow is heavy, and the rumors of changing teams are like needle pricks. Changing positions, Shen Qingqing guided Yiji to make a 3-point arc, and the colorful ring on his wrist jingled and hit the whistle. Captain's shooting skills are not forced. The detective's eye locks the basket and is still, like a camping compass flying at night, steady in the fog. The wrist is soft. The arc rotates and roars. Yiji tried the shot with enthusiasm. The ball hit the iron frame and buzzed and missed, with sweat splattering on his face. Sister, carry it. The second shot curved and the third shot hit the board. Lin Fan watched with jealousy. Sister Ji's shooting skills. I'm the best in the inside. But Yiji yelled back. Lin Fan, don't interfere. The Cold War is enough, don't touch your pride. The emotional game is like ice and fire. Han Zhao's fake move slips. His round face is so swollen that he can't smile. Late at night, the playground lights flickered. Qingfeng's iron face patrolled, and the whistle turned cold. Hold on. The semifinals are approaching. City number 1 middle school is crazy for revenge. The team members were sweating like rain. Their school uniforms were wet against the girls' curves, and the sour body odor mixed with the night wind was pungent. Lin Fan suddenly stopped controlling the ball, and the ball rolled to the floor. He took a deep breath and locked Yiji with his handsome eyes. Sister Ji, wait. It's not about teammate friendship, it's, I like you. In the first battle there was jealousy and there was internal fighting just to fight for your eyes. I have endured enough in the Cold War, and I have to show my bravery. Outside the rockets, I only care about you. The trembling voice echoed in the wind, and the whole team froze. Han Xiaoyuan's eyes dropped to the ground. Handsome Lin Fan. Hit the ball with a straight shot. Shen Qingqing looked up inwardly, her eyes flashing with sisterly dependence. Yiji's self-esteem collided, and she pushed away with a passionate blush. Lin Fan, silly. Enough ambiguous misunderstandings. Teammate friendship comes first. Like it. He said outside the game, the Rockets are in crisis now. Don't mess up before the semifinals. Lin Fan's fist turned white, and his affection broke in forbearing. It's teammate friendship. The ambiguous Cold War intensified like an undercurrent. After the training, the team members dragged themselves back to the locker room. The backpack adventure equipment was spread out, the rope was rough and tightened, the compass flashed blue at night, and the smell of blood remained in the gauze of the first aid kit. Han Xiaoyuan stroked the rope with her hand. The camping bus capsizes and gets lost across the river. This equipment is equipped with rockets. If you change the team, it will be like breaking the rope. It will scare you to death. Yiji shook hands and held the bracelet high, and the colorful rope jingled and vowed to reply. Sisters, pack your backpacks, the next one will be burned. The spiritual pillar of the bracelet. Never give up. Shen Qingqing took the rope, and his introverted eyes gradually brightened. Captain, like a fire hug. Growth goes both ways, my leader roars, you are a master. Lin Fan silently rolled up the compass, His handsome face locked on Yiji's back. Qingfeng patted his shoulder with his iron arm. Okay. The whistle sounds, youth battle. In the early morning, the bus was bumpy on the mountain road. The fog began to rise again, and the smell of loose and wet seeped out of the window. Suddenly, the tires burst and screamed. The bus skidded sideways, its brakes screeched against metal, and it hit a tree with a loud thud. The team members screamed. Their backpacks rolled down and Qingfeng shouted, "Don't panic. Everyone get out of the car." Yiji protected Shen Qingqing. Lin Fan rushed forward to open the door, and Han Xiao held his head. It's over, it's over. The adventure has become a real crisis. Deep in the forest, beasts growl faintly, and on the edge of the cliff an accident occurs. Can everyone experience the crisis together? And can the whistle of the friendship bracelet be reversed? The lights in the dormitory flickered blue like a will-o'-the-wisp, and the cold wind penetrated through the cracks in the window in the early morning, mixing with the smell of grass on the playground and the clammy night dew. The pungent smell of disinfectant water turned into reality from the mobile phone messages. The photo of Qingfeng's iron face was frozen in the group chat, with the text "Heart attack, municipal hospital emergency, don't mess with it." Yiji's heart felt like a hammer hitting her, and her chest hurt like a basketball hitting her chest. She sat up suddenly, the springs of the bed creaked in protest, and her passionate eyes burned red in the darkness. Coach, how to break the iron-blooded whistle? On the eve of the semifinals, the Rockets have no handsome coach, and Wang Yan, the number 1 middle school student in the city, smiled sinisterly and waited to swallow it. She squeezed the bracelet with her fingers, and the colorful rope was pulled into the palm of her hand and stung, and the salty taste of blood oozing out filled the tip of her tongue. Han Xiao, who was sitting next to the bunkhouse, curled up with his round body. His bag of potato chips fell to the ground. His round eyes stared at the ceiling with tears rolling down his face. Pistachio. I can't laugh. The coach's iron arm patted my shoulder to warm it up. And now it's a cold hospital bed? The rocket fell apart. The potato chips shattered and my heart broke. His voice trembled like leaves falling in the wind. The dormitory hummed and sobbed. Shen Qingqing shrank back into the corner, banged his bracelet against the iron bed, and his eyes fell into the shadow. The detective's eyes are blind. The pressure cliff collapses again. The coach falls. My leader yells, "What should I do?" The bed across from Lin Fan was empty, and he had rushed out. His handsome face was pale, and the shadow of his fist hit the wall, and the sound echoed. The sky is still white, and team members take turns to visit like ghosts walking at night. The lights in the corridors of the municipal hospital are buzzing and piercing. The cold light reflected from the white walls elongates the figure into a lonely soul, and the choking air disinfectant mixes with the moans and groans of the ward. Yiji took the lead and pushed open the door to the ward. Qingfeng's iron face was as pale as paper. The oxygen tube was hissing and bubbling. His chest was rising and falling weakly like a candle flame in the wind, and the electrocardiogram was beeping monotonously and heart-piercingly. Han Zhao's round mouth was O-shaped, and potato chip crumbs were falling from her pocket. Her legs were weak and she threw herself on the bedside. Her round hands were trembling and she held Qingfeng's iron fist. Coach, the pistachios are here, the potato chips are hot, and the crisis is over with laughter. The iron whistle is ringing. Tears hit the sheets and the wet spots spread. Qingfeng's eyelids trembled slightly, and his voice was hoarse like sandpaper grinding iron. Han Xiao laughs. The Rockets need fire. In the semifinals, there are many dirty tricks in the city. Han Xiao burst into admiration, wiping tears and smiling. Coach is iron-blooded. Pistachio swears the whole team is divided, but turned around and leaned on Yiji's shoulder to breathe. Captain, he has lost weight, the whistle is gone, and the potato chips are bitter. It was Shen Qingqing's turn. She staggered inwardly. When she pushed the door, the colorful rope of her bracelet was wrapped tightly around her fingers. Her detective eyes locked on the ups and downs of the electrocardiogram, and her pressure shell was wrapped like an iron cage. Coach, 3 consecutive 3-pointers, you shouted genius rocket. Now I shout? Qingfeng's iron eyes opened slightly, and his breath was heavy. Qingqing, the divine eye lock wins. The introverted shell is broken, and the leader comes out. The bracelet swears the camping fire was warm. Shen Qingqing burst into tears and yelled inwardly. Coach, never give up. Dan Hobai's legs were weak and the bracelet clanged on the floor. Han Xiaoqing's round eyes were wide and trembling. Sister Qingqing! The leader roared, and the heartbeat potato chips flew away. Qin Feng raised his lips slightly and held her bracelet with an iron fist. Good, grow up. But on the eve of the semifinals, the buzzing of mobile phones woke up the whole team in the early morning, and Qin Feng's iron-faced message was, Hospital. Yiji rushed up, her heart shattered. Coach, is seriously ill? Heart attack. How can the iron-blooded whistle sound? Shen Qingqing's bracelet trembled. Han Xiao dropped the bag of potato chips, and Lin Fan punched the wall. The Rockets have no handsome man, how can they fight? The night wind roared and the playground was empty, and the dark clouds of crisis were overwhelming. The friendship bracelet shimmered, the miracle of youth, who could save him before the cliff? Yiji was behind the throne, her pride burning like fire. She knelt beside the bed and pressed Qin Feng's iron hand on her forehead to warm her heart. Coach, I'll take over as the temporary coach. The leader yelled at the whole team, and the Parents' Association supported burning. But your iron whistle broke, and my heart dropped. Self-esteem fell from the cliff. Carrying the pressure? The city's #1 sea swallowed the rocket. The psychological game is like a knife. Pushing away Lin Fan to express the secret pain of the Cold War. Teaching Qingqing to shoot in both directions. The aftershocks of the fake news are still lingering. And now there is no handsome man in the desperate situation. Will the blood roar be shattered or collapse? Qin Feng's iron arm was raised slightly, and the whistle rolled out from under the pillow and hit the bracelet. Yiji, I believe you. The whistle sounds youth battle. Plan for counterattack, sacrifice tacit understanding, camping rope team. Yiji smashed the whistle with teardrops and his passionate eyes burned. Coach! Rockets! When they stood up, the whole team froze outside the corridor, and Han Zhao's eyes widened. Captain, take over. Hot-blooded queen, pistachio bows down. Lin Fan's handsome eyes were locked on her back, and he could not help but tremble in admiration. Sister Ji. Iron blood. The playground is filled with morning fog. The dewdrops rolling down the lawn are slippery, the afterglow of the night lights is dazzling, and the air is cold and damp with the sour smell of sweat. Yiji blew a whistle that cut through the mist, and her colorful bracelets shimmered in the mist. Her temporary coach shouldered the pressure, and her self-esteem game was like lay. Roaring to break the panic, or misleading the whole team. The whole team warms up. Shen Qingqing, the leader, roars. Overcome the shell. The campfire relies on burning. Shen Qingqing's inward legs trembled, standing in the middle circle. The shadow of the team members was heavy, and the sharpshooter's wrist shook like a willow in the wind. Hot warm up and run. Cover the tacit understanding. Never give up. The sound was weak at first, and the fog swallowed it, but the second roar was amplified by cracking the silk. Run! The pressure is broken, God-locking arc. The team members' steps were chaotic, and Han Zhao's round body was bouncing, and her round eyes were bursting with admiration. Sister Qingqing leads the way. Pistachios are full of energy. Lin Fan started to control the ball. His handsome face was sweating, and his eyes flashed with ambiguity. Qingqing roared. The rocket is stable. I have a heavy responsibility. Yiji's heart was warm, and his blood and self-esteem were loosened. Qingqing sprouted, and the two-way growth arc flashed. Warming up and turning to tactical training, the plastic floor was wet and creaked, and the ball hit the frame and the buzz echoed. Yijiho made a plan. Lin Fan, control the ball to lock down the weak point of the first center. Quickly pass the three-pointer. Wang Yanyin moves to defend the inside. And I am the king inside. Lin Fan stopped suddenly while controlling the ball. The ball's surface rubbed against the air and roared. His handsome face was twisted and jealous. Sister Ji, it's wrong. Shuri Zhonghai controlled the pace and lured you into the air for a three-pointer. In the first game you were injured, I'm jealous enough, now listen to me. The voice trembled in the wind, and the ball hit the ground in protest. The ambiguous Cold War was like explosives. Yiji's blood was red with jealousy and she pinched her wristband in pain. Lin Fan, are you selfish again? Profess your forbearance and change your tactics to fight? Friendship with your teammates comes first. My leader yells, you point guard, listen. Psychological game blade. Love is confusing or sacrifices tacit understanding. The whole team was frozen. Han Xuan opened her mouth wide and the potato chips flew into pieces. Handsome captain. Rush to fight? Pistachio's heartbeat stopped. Shen Qingqing's eyes locked before Shen Qingqing burst into flames. The colorful ring on his sharpshooter's wrist jingled and whistled. Stop! Captain Lin Fan, listen to me. For a moment her introverted shell broke, and she took a deep breath of foggy grass, and her voice was as steady as an arc. The day I transferred to the team, the pressure dropped, Wang Yan's picture needle pricked me, and I burst into tears. The camping bus overturned and I got lost in the night, Captain. I shouted Sister Reliance with a warm forehead, and Lin Fan made a precise pass, and Han Xiao smiled warmly and pulled the rope. At that moment the detective's eyesight changed. Growth is not carried out alone, but by sharing the broken shells. The captain roared, Lin Fan controlled the slow trick, and the potato chip covered the sea with a three-pointer. After saying that, the bracelet was raised high and the color flashed in the mist. The whole team's eyes widened, and Han Xiaoyuan burst into tears. Sister Qingqing is a storyteller. Pistachios understand, potato chips share the peace. Lin Fanshuai's face turned pale and turned red. His eyes locked. Yiji apologized. Qingqing, the detective mediates, I was wrong. Privacy is hidden, control and listen. Yiji prided herself and embraced Shen Qingqing with enthusiasm. Sisters, the two-way arc is perfect. Lin Fan came in last. His handsome face was green with sweat dripping down the bridge of his nose. He held the whistle with his ball handler and locked the hospital bed affectionately, but Yiji's back flashed. Coach, I'll handle the point guard. Accurate pass, show patience, rockets first. Qin Feng's iron eyes locked. Lin Fan, handsome controller with steady mind, breaking the Cold War, and locking the enemy tactically. Like, after the game. Lin Fan squeezed his fists white, nodded and left the door, the wind blowing in the wind from the window and rustling disinfectant confetti. The training intensified, the morning sun pierced the fog and sprinkled gold, and the heat wave reflected from the floor steamed my nose with sweat and acid. Lin Fan controlled the ball like a wolf, passing the ball at a slow pace. Shen Qingqing's three-point arc hit the net, and his eyes were locked without any deviation. Yiji burst into the inside line and shattered the defense. Han Xiao covered up and resurrected with a fake smile. Potato chip energy laughter breaks the crisis. The team's tacit understanding was like a camping rope tightening, sweat beads flying salty, and whistles blaring in succession. Yiji won the psychological game. A desperate situation was laid out, sacrifice to unite and passionate leadership reached its peak. The locker room door slammed open, and the afternoon sun penetrated like a sharp sword, shining on the scattered adventure backpacks. The smell of rough ropes was mixed with blood residue from gauze and greasy potato chips. The air was as muggy as a steamer, and the premonition of sweat was tangy. The colorful string of Yiji's bracelet flashed in the sun. Her temporary coach's whistle was tucked under her arm, and her passionate eyes scanned the whole team. The parents' meeting is full of support. My parents shouted rocket rush. Coach Qin's message was trustworthy. The semi-final whistle sounded. And the city's #1 champion, the military favorite? Wrong. The bracelet is tightened, and the camping rope is locked in a tacit understanding. Han Zhao's round body bounced, and the bag of potato chips fell to the ground, and her round eyes were full of adoration. The captain and the queen are full of pistachio chips, parent-teacher conference mother. The snack box hit Wang Yan in the face, and she laughed in the semi-finals. Shen Qingqing stood upright with an introverted figure, and the compass on the backpack of the divine detective locked her eyes. She touched Yiji lightly with her bracelet. Sisters, the leader roared and depended on burning, and the arc of the divine eye locked the sea. Lin Fanshuai's face was slightly red. The ball handler pinched the whistle, and his deep eyes flashed with ambiguity and pain. Sister Ji, I control the tactics. Privacy is hidden. The rockets come first. The whole team clapped their fists and clinked their bracelets, and the youthful flames were rising in the sultry heat. Time flew by like a ball hitting the frame and buzzing. In the blink of an eye, on the night of the semifinals, the lights of the municipal stadium roared like an incandescent furnace. The hot and sweaty air was mixed with the sweetness of popcorn. The roars of parents in the audience surged like a tidal wave. The Rockets' parents waved and hoisted colorful flags. Fans of the #1 middle school in the city rushed to the scene. Tail flicks and ridicules. Without a handsome rocket, the Rockets are crippled. Wang Yanhai drowns the talented shooters, and the whistle blows and the cliff falls. Yiji leads the team into the arena. Her passionate self-esteem is like fire burning ice. Her whistle blows through the noise, the team uniform is sweaty and clinging to the body, and the colorful bracelets twinkle under the light. Shen Qingqing's introverted steps trembled slightly, scanning the enemy's formation with a spying eye. Wang Yan threw the ball with a ponytail smile. The transfer student's shell is shattered? P-needle is enough. The foul will flood your arc. Lin Fan locked Yiji's back with his handsome eyes, and his jealousy turned into a wolf. The point guard carries it, the slow pace lures the sea. Han Siyuan bounced with a smile. Potato chip energy crisis laughter. The whistle was sharp and piercing, and the kickoff was like thunder. Wang Yan of City No. 1 Middle School hit the inside hook with a clang, leading 5 o'clock. The audience roared loudly. The King of the Sea is crushing the Rockets. The parents' table in the audience was slightly buzzing, but Wang Yan's ponytail flicked and her sinister smile intensified. Foul! She hit Shen Qingqing's shoulder with her iron hook, and the whistle sounded a foul. Shen Qingqing knelt down with her legs weak, her bracelet jingled and hit the floor, and the detective's tears rolled down her cheeks. Shell? Rewrapped. Han Xiaoyuan's eyes widened and she trembled as she rushed forward. Sister Qingqing. Pistachio pulls the rope. Wang Yanyin stabs the heartbreaking potato chips with acupuncture. Yiji's hot-blooded fist pinched the blood, and her self-esteem was in a knife-wrenching game. Protect the sisters or be tactically sound. Qingqing, the campfire is warm. The leader roars to break the shell. The game was like a turbulent wave, with City No. 1 Middle School's coastal defense stacked up. Wang Yan hit Shen Qingqing 3 times in a row. The foul whistle pierced his heart. Shen Qingqing's shooting wrist was swollen and purple, and the introverted figure shrank and applied an ice pack on the sidelines, whimpering, God's eyes. Blind cliff? 3 pressure needles, the arc is broken. The score opened to 15-8, and the Rockets gasped. The audience laughed like rain. No handsome man is disabled. The genius shooter is wrapped in shells and crying. Lin Fan's handsome face was ashen, and his ball handler was trembling in the wind and replied, Wang Yan, enough dirty tricks. He stopped and passed. Wang Yan's iron hook hit the fly ball, turned around and pushed Shen Qingqing's shoulder. Lin Fan burst into anger. Handsome punched Wang Yan's arm, and the whistle blew wildly for a technical foul. The referee's iron arm pointed. Lin Fan sent off. The whole court buzzed and froze. Lin Fan's handsome eyes locked with Yiji's apology, and his legs were weak and he was dragged to the sidelines. Sister Ji selfishly controlled, I'm wrong. 3 Rockets are short of 1. And they are off the cliff. Han Xiao carried the forward alone with his round body, covering up with a fake smile but was out of breath. Handsome guy, pistachios alone, potato chips shattered and heartbroken. Wang Yanhai swallowed. Despair swallowed the game like black mist. City No. 1 Middle School blasted 25-12 to lead by 13 points. Wang Yan swung her ponytail and laughed. The Rockets have no control and no handsomeness. They are crippled and dying. Fans from City No. 1 Middle School in the audience shouted, Drown the genius. Rockets' parents turned pale and whispered. The pressure cliff collapses again and Coach Qin's iron whistle breaks. Han Zhao's round leg trembled on the inside line, and the ball hit the frame with a buzzing sound. Her round tears were flying. I can't laugh, the potato chips are empty. Yiji's hot-blooded self-esteem fell off the cliff. She stood frozen in the court. The colorful rope on her wrist was blood-streaked, and the psychological game was like thunder. The temporary coach screamed and panicked. The whole team fell apart. The sisters burst into tears, and the ambiguous pain exploded. Shen Qingqing curled up on the ice pack inwardly on the sidelines with a ghostly look. Leader, am I being dragged down by my shell? The dazzling lights elongated the figure into a lonely soul. The smell of sweat mixed with the foreboding of blood, and the audience laughed like knives between the whistles. Suddenly, Yiji knelt on the ground, raised her wristband high to jingle the whistle, and locked the whole team with her passionate eyes. Stop! Recall! The camping bus overturned, getting lost across the river in the dark night. The cold and wet. The rope-cheering bracelet vowing to never give up. The fake news about the transfer of the P-picture. Wang Yan's smile fell off the cliff, and Coach Qin's iron arm shot. The whistle sounded. Parents roared in support, now the cliff is wrong. The detective arc locks the sea, and Pistachio smiles resurrection. My inner king roared like a thunderbolt, and Han Seoyun burst into tears. Captain, the hot-blooded queen. The oath of potato chips is burning, Dumu is laughing. Shen Qingqing's inner shell was shattered, and the detective's eyes exploded. Light, she suddenly wiped away tears, and the colored rope of her bracelet flashed. Sisters! The leader shouts, dependence. Divine Eye Lock arc is so far away. The audience was slightly buzzing, and Wang Yan, the number 1 middle school, laughed stiffly with a ponytail. Oath? A crippled joke. After changing sides, the whistle sounded like a war drum again. Yana suddenly roared and shattered the coastal defense, past Han Xiao with a fake smile to cover. Shen Qingqing ran for a three-pointer from the long line. The sharpshooter's wrist was swollen and shaking but as steady as iron, and the sharpshooting eye locked the arc without deviation. The ball whirled through the air and rustled into the net. 25:15. Han Zhao's O-shaped mouth widened and trembled. Sister Qingqing's super long-range shot. Pistachio heartbeat potato chips flew and shattered into pieces. The rocket parents in the audience roared. Genius rockets. Wang Yan's face turned pale and her ponytail was weak. Fake? Crooked arc? Shen Qingqing was silent, turning inward and confident. She followed Yiji's roaring pass and hit the sand with another super long three-point spin. 25:18. The whole place was filled with excitement. Fans of City No. 1 Middle School froze and whispered. Detective locked up? Han Zhao's round eyes worshipped and his round body bounced. Connect. The sisters' arc is perfect. The potato chips divide the sea. The third super long shot. Shen Qingqing's eyes scanned the gap in the defense. The ball was like a meteor hitting the light. The net rope rustled. 25:21. The referee's eyes widened and his whistle trembled slightly. 3 points, valid. Wang Yan's legs went weak and she knelt down, her sinister smile cracked and trembled. Impossible. The genius shell is shattered and drowned in the sea? The score was tight. City No. 1 Middle School panicked, and Yiji Nei's king suddenly burst into flames, roaring to pieces and smashing the iron hook. At the critical moment, Wang Yan made a layup and screamed. She jumped up to block the shot and smashed the ball with her iron palm and flew out of the court. The whole place was shocked, and the audience shouted, Queen of Blocks. Han Seoyun covered her mouth with her hands and burst into tears. Captain is iron-blooded. Potato chips seal the sky. The crisis is broken. The handsome Lin Fan punched the chair on the sidelines and came back. The bell rang. He returned with wolfish control of the ball, slow tempo to lure the enemy Haifeng away, accurately past Shen Qingqing's arc, but suddenly turned Yiji inside. In the last 10 seconds the score was tied. Yiji suddenly threw away Wang Yan. The ball's surface rubbed and whistled. Lin Fan's handsome eyes were locked in ambiguity. Sister Ji, a winning assist. The ball hit the frame and bounced with a buzz, and he made an emergency stop to put in the ball, and the hook rustled into the net. Reversal. 32:30. The whistle finally sounded, and the audience roared wildly. The parents of the Rockets burst into tears and waved their hands. The miracle of youth. The whistle is reversed. Wang Yan's ponytail was scattered, and the fans were silent and shocked. The Rockets have no handsome man? The players on the field crowded together. Their bracelets jingled and they swore to return. Sweat, blood, and salty tears filled the air. The peak of friendship was like a camping fire exploding. Han Zhao's round body bounced and she burst into tears. The god of reversal. Pistachio potato chips are all points. Sisters will never give up. Shen Qingqing embraced Yi inwardly, and her probing eyes were confident and brilliant. The leader roars. The peak of the two-way arc. Lin Fanshui's sweat dropped from her face, and Yiji, with her deep eyes locked in pain, trembled with admiration. Sister Ji, the Rockets won, I said after the game. Yiji's passionate self-esteem was loosened, and the ambiguous warmth flowed in her heart. The Cold War was broken, and the friendship between youth and comrades was burning. At night, on the eve of the finals, the lights in the dormitory were dim. The expedition backpack spread out its ropes and smelled fish, and Qin Feng's message buzzed. The iron whistle sounds, the miracle continues. Lin Fan pushed the door open, and his handsome face was livid and he took a deep breath of the night dew. Sister Ji, I have enough secrets to assist in the semifinals. I like you, and my forehead has been leaning on that day since the camping trip. Confession, straight ball. Yiji's hot-blooded eyes flashed, and her wristband pinched her palm with slight pain. Ambiguous self-esteem collided like thunder. Lin fanned. The rocket comes first, the Cold War is loose but. Shen Qingqing's figure shrank into the corner outside the door, and the sparks were locked between the two of them. Introverted hearts were entangled like a shell. Sisterly dependence, emotional cliff? The whistle is about to sound. A new battle for youth? The faint blue light leaked out from the crack of the dormitory door like a will-o'-the-wisp. Lin Fan's handsome face was livid, and he took a deep breath of the night dew and the smell of grass mixed with the musty smell of the old wooden floor of the dormitory. His Adam's apple rolled, and his deep eyes were filled with blood. Sister Ji, my forehead was sweating from that day at the camp, he said. Next to the sour and bloody fire. Your roar broke my cold-blooded heart. I like the straight ball and give priority to the rockets, but enough said after the game. On the eve of the finals, what do you say? Her lips quivered and blush crept up her cheeks. The sultry air in the dormitory was full of sweet potato chip residue and tangy to her nose. Lin Fan, the rocket burns first, the Cold War is relaxed but the heart is confused. Let's talk after the whistle blows. The sisters are on the edge of the cliff. You are handsome and control the wolf, I trust you. Shen Qingqing outside the door was introverted. The figure shrinks into the corner, sparks fly between the two of them. The detective's eyes are locked. Her heart is wrapped in a shell. The bracelet touches the wall lightly and is cold and biting. The boundaries of friendship are blurred and tears roll down. Leader? Sisters are dependent on each other, and their emotions are falling off the cliff? The marksman drags down the ambiguity. Han Zhao's round body suddenly jumped out of the stairs, and the bag of potato chips rattled in the night sky. Her round eyes were filled with admiration and trembling, and she rushed to the door. Wow! The handsome guy confessed his love to Sister Queen Ji in a straight line? Pistachio, listen to me. Wiled the sweet potato chips on the camp's forehead. The matchmaking, the double defeat of the enemy in the finals. The rocket's friendship is at the peak of ambiguity. Lin Fan's handsome face turned from pale to red. His deep eyes flashed with embarrassment and wolfishness. Fat Han, don't yell. Yiji's self-esteem was shattered with a fist, and she pulled the bracelet on Han Seyuan's arm. Shut up, Pistachio. Let's start the training. Let's keep the whistle in the finals. Shen Qingqing stepped out of the corner with an introverted figure. With tears streaming down her face, she lightly touched Yiji's bracelet. Sisters. You heard me right, my eyes are locked on each other. The four of them fisted their bracelets and swore back. The night wind was smelly and wrapped in sweet potato chips, and the flames of youthful ambiguity spread through the stuffy dormitory. The dawn was like a ball hitting the frame and buzzing. The morning fog on the campus playground was biting and wet. Parents waved and hoisted colorful flags and roared like waves. Rocket parents' snack boxes hit the ground, and moms burst into tears and trembled to support the team members. Reversal in the semifinals. The pressure of the parent-teacher meeting was shattered, and the parents roared and never let go. Abandon, the thunderous sea swallowed in the finals. The support is tight. Yiji's father slapped her hot-blooded shoulder, and the sweat was mixed with the hot steamed buns. Ji's mom said you were camping on the ropes, and the whistle sounded like a miracle, and the family conflict was ashes. Han Zhao's mother smiled and pushed the potato chip box. My daughter is smiling with pistachios, my mother is full of snacks, and she has a lot of potato chips in the finals. Shen Qingqing's parents saw their daughter's confidence for the first time. She glanced at the parents and yelled, Mom and Dad. The sharpshooter is not wrapped in shells, and the sister leader yelled at the family supporter. Lin Fan, Dad, be more handsome. His head was deep and his eyes were locked. The kid's point guard came back with a wolfish streak to kill. A straight shot to express his love to Dad. Rockets first, Dad understands, assists in the finals. All the parents of the team shouted back with fists stacked. The fog dispersed and the sun glared and lengthened their figures. The final conflict in the family was like a loose rope, and the morale fire exploded. The iron-blooded figure of Qingfeng appeared on the side of the playground. His wheelchair creaked and rolled over. The fog was wet and the grass was smelly. He recovered from his heart condition and returned to the team. The new tactics paper was wet with sweat and curled his fists. The iron whistle sounded. The message from the edge of the hospitalization shocked the whole team. The favorite for the Thunder Provincial Championship in the final was Zhao Renee. The Iron Beast smashes the C defense, and the genius shooter is stabbed by a secret trick? The new tactic of rope lock arc. Yin Ai Wang roars to cover. Lin Fan slowly controls the wolf to lure. Shen Qingqing super long-range detective lock. Han Xiao fakes a smooth smile to share the potato chip energy. The tacit understanding in the camping camp is tight. Coach Qin patted Yiji's hot-blooded shoulder, and the whole team stared with wide eyes and trembled in admiration. Coach returns to the team with iron-blooded strength. The whistle is on for the youth battle. Han Zhao's round eyes burst into tears. Uncle Qin potato chips. The box is full. The new tactics are thunderous. Lin Fan pinched the tactical paper and took a deep breath. Wolf-like lock, Sister Ji suddenly closed. Shen Qingqing glanced at the arc of the paper, and the sun shined on his bracelet. Leader. The rope is so bright. The training camp was like a raging wave. The smell of plastic on the playground was pungent, and the sweat hit the face. Yiji suddenly roared and shattered the fake defense. Lin Fan slow-controlled and accurately flicked the arc. Shen Qingqing's wrist was swollen and his wrist was shaking, and the shot was steady and the iron was buzzing from far away. Han Zhao's round body pretended to slide to cover the bag of potato chips, and he laughed and resurrected. The roars of the parents were like thunder drums, and Qin Feng's iron whistle pierced the air. Tighten the tacit understanding. The thunder and thunder beasts collide, and the rope lock will not be broken. The whole team's bracelets jingled and fists were stacked. The sunset was blood red and stretched the shadows of sweat, and the flames of youth spread across the sky. The lights of the incandescent furnace roared in the night finals, and the sweltering air mixed with the sweet and sour smell of sweat and blood. Parents in the audience roared as the tide surged. Rockets fans waved and hoisted colorful flags. The whistle is reversed and burned, and Thunder fans ponytailed iron beasts roared. Provincial champions are flooded and the Rockets are crippled. Yiji led the team into the arena, with passionate self-esteem burning ice, the lights of the bracelets' colorful ropes flashing, and the whistles pinching the armpits. Shen Qingqing was inwardly confident. His eyes were locked on the enemy's formation. Zhao Lei's iron tower body was smiling sinisterly and he was shaking his arms. Transfer student genius? A super long false arc in the semifinals. The Iron Beast smashed the shell of the god's eyes. Lin Fan's handsome eyes were locked on Yiji's ambiguity. Nuan Yinren. Wolf control. Sister Ji makes a winning assist. Han Suan laughed at the energy of bouncing potato chips. The pistachio laughs and divides the Iron Beast. Qin Feng clenched his fist at the iron whistle on the sidelines. The rope locks the arc. The new tactic is burning. The whistle was sharp and piercing. The kickoff was thunderous. Zhao Lei's inside hook hit the frame with a clang, leading 5 o'clock. Thunder fans roared. The Iron Beast is crushing the Rockets. Yin Ai suddenly roared to break the defense, past Lin Fan for slow control. Shen Qingqing's eye locked the three-pointer, and the arc whizzed into the net at 5:3. The audience was slightly buzzing, but Zhao Lei's iron arm hit Shen Qingqing's shoulder, and the whistle blew for a foul. Her inward-legged Microsoft bracelet jingled, and the detective's tears rolled down her face. Iron Beast? Heavy shell? Han Xiaoyuan's eyes widened and she trembled and rushed forward. Sister Qingqing. Potato chips pull the rope, and the Iron Beast's vagina is stabbed with needles. The whole audience laughed like rain. Crippled genius cries. Rocket expires. The game was turbulent, with thunderous Iron Beasts stacked up to defend the sea. Zhao Lei hit Shen Qingqing 4 times in a row. The whistle iron pierced his heart, and his wrists were swollen purple and red, bursting with bloodshot eyes. She shrank from the shooting position and applied ice packs on the sidelines, sobbing. God's eye blind cliff? Ultra-long arc break. The score was 25-10 with 15 points. The Rockets gasped and the audience laughed at them. Without a handsome man, he is disabled. The provincial champion drowned. Lin Fan's handsome face was livid and he was shaking while controlling the ball. He made an emergency stop and passed. Zhao Lei's hook hit the ball and pushed him in the chest. He furiously punched the handsome man in the arm, and the whistle blew wildly for a technical foul. The referee pointed an iron finger. Lin Fan sent off. The whole audience froze. Lin Fan's handsome eyes were full of pain, and Yiji's legs were soft and dragging his side. Sister Ji. She has a wolfish nature. I'm wrong. 3 shortcomings and 1 cliff. Han Zhao's round body was all alone and he was panting. Handsome guy, potato chips alone will break your heart. The desperate black fog swallowed the game. And the thunder bomb to lead 18 points at 40:22. Zhao Leda laughed and threw his arms. The rockets are disabled without control, and the iron beast swallows the genius. Thunder fans shouted, drown the sharpshooter. And Rocket's parents whispered in vain. Coach Qin's iron whistle broke. Han Xiaoyuan's legs trembled and the inside line popped up. Yuan burst into tears. Du Mu. I can't laugh. Yiji's pride fell off the cliff, and his wristband was frozen in the field and his blood was salty. The psychological game thundered. How to break the panic? The sisters burst into tears and exploded in ambiguous pain. Shen Qingqing huddled in the ice pack, looking at the double image. Leader. I am dragging down the emotional cliff. The light was dazzling, sweaty and bloody, and the ridicule was like a knife. Suddenly, Yiji knelt on the ground and raised her wristband high to jingle the whistle, locking the whole team in red with blood. Stop! I recall the camping bus going astray and crossing the cold and wet river, and pulling the rope to swear never give up. The parents yelled and burned Coach Qin to return to the iron whistle. The new tactic rope arc. The iron beast's sinister attack on the cliff? Wrong. The bracelet fettered the pull. The detective's super long-range burn. The pistachio smile came to life. My inner king roared to pieces. Yelling, Han Xiaoyuan burst into tears with eyes wide open. Captain Queen! The potato chips swear to burn the tree and explode it. Shen Qingqing's shell-breaking detective's eyes flashed, and he raised his tear-wiping bracelet and flashed. Sister leader roar. God's eye-locking iron beast arc burns from a distance. Qin Feng hit the wheelchair with his iron fist on the sidelines and trembled. Miracle continues. Roar and burn youth. The whole audience was slightly buzzing. Zhao Lei's iron face smiled stiffly. Swear? A crippled joke. The whistle was changed and the drums were beating. Yana suddenly roared and shattered the sea of iron. Past Han Xiao to cover with a fake smile. Shen Qingqing rushed to the super long range to detect the eye lock without any deviation, and the swollen wrist shook the ball and whizzed into the net. 40:25. Han Zhao's O-shaped mouth widened and trembled. Qingqing is a super faraway god. The potato chip heart is flying and the shell is smashing into the sky. The rocket's parents roared. Genius is burning. Zhao Lei's face turned pale and he threw his arms weakly. Fake? Crooked arc? Shen Qingqing was confident and silent, and followed Yiji's roar to pass the second super long distance spin to smash the sand. 40:28. The whole place was in an uproar, and Thunder fans murmured. Detective locked the iron beast? Han Xiao burst into admiration with his round eyes. Hit the ball in a row. Perfect potato chip points in the sister arc. The third super long shot, the god's eye swept through the gap. The shooting star flashed the light. The net rope rustled. 40:31. The referee's eyes widened and he whistled. 3 points are valid. Zhao Lei's legs went weak and he knelt down, his iron smile cracked and trembled. Impossible. The genius shell-breaking iron beast flooded? The score was tight and the thunder collapsed in panic. Yiji's inner king roared like a tiger and smashed the iron hook. Zhao Lei roared for a layup at the key point. She leapt to block the shot and hit the iron palm with a bang outside the court. The whole audience roared. Queen of shot blocks. Han Xiao covered her mouth with her hands and burst into tears. Captain is iron-blooded. Potato chips seal the sky in crisis. Lin Fan came back and the bell rang, and the handsome control wolf returned, slowly seducing the sea essence past Shen Qingqing suddenly turned to Yijian's side. In the last 10 seconds of the tie, Yi threw Zhao Lei's ball away and the ball roared. Lin Fan's deep eyes were filled with ambiguity. Sister Ji, a sure kill. The ball hit the frame and bounced, and he made an emergency stop to add the iron hook and rustled into the net. Reversal 45:43. The final buzzer pierced the sky, and the whole audience roared and boiled. Rocket's parents broke down in tears and waved their hands. The miracle whistle of youth reverses the peak. Zhao Lei paralyzed the subway tower and fell apart, shaking his arms and regretting the tears mixed with sweat. A trick? A genius shot to lock up the iron beast? The provincial champion fell off the cliff. I was wrongly judged to be disabled. Thunder fans were silent and stunned, then turned to worship and whispered. The Rockets? Super long-range blocker is invincible. Qingqing blew the iron whistle and roared. The rope lock wins. The whole team is miraculous. The team members piled up and jingled their bracelets, sweat, blood and tears filled the air. And the friendship exploded. Han Xiaoan burst into tears and laughed. The god of reversal. I will never give up on potato chips. Shen Qingqing embraced Yi Zhishan with confident eyes. The leader roars to the peak in both directions, and the emotional cliff locks the sisters. Lin Fanshui's eyes are locked with sweat and deep eyes. Ji trembled in admiration. Sister Ji, rocket champion my heart, said after the whistle. Yiji's blood was loosened and ambiguous and warm, and she smiled with pride. Youth is burning with war. A new adventure backpack is opened, and the whistle will sound forever. I went back to the locker room at noon and saw the backpack adventure outfit stall. The rope was rough and my hands were smelly, the compass was beeping when it turned, and the first aid gauze smelled like blood. Qingfeng's message buzzed. I believe you, the whistle sounds for battle. As the players read in turn, Han Xiaoan raised his hand. Coach Taiyuan, rockets are burning. The growth is obvious like the mist clearing and the sun rising, but the whistle of the semi-finals is about to sound, and Wang Yan's ponytail sneer appears outside the municipal gymnasium. A genius shooter comes to the sea? The rockets have no handsome man. And the dirty tricks are waiting for you. Crisis is everywhere, the miracle of youth. When the whistle blows, who will resist? Outside the gym, the night wind carried the smell of grass and the sour fragrance of sweat. The golden light of the championship trophy shone like sparks on the prairie fire under the streetlights. The adventure backpack was spread out on the wet lawn, the rope was coiled in a circle, and the tip of the compass beeped and pointed towards the unknown black shadow. Yiji's hot-blooded fist was still holding the whistle to keep it warm, and the colored string of her bracelet made a light red mark. She took a deep breath of the cool night dew mixed with the metal of the trophy, and turned around to see the crowd of the team's figures elongating into youthful silhouettes. The roars of the parents gradually subsided into whispers, and rocket parents' snack boxes spread out the sweet potato chips. The mothers rushed to their daughters' round bodies with tears in their eyes. Champion burn! The pressure of the parents' meeting breaks to ashes, the whistle reverses the miracle, and the parents roar tight. Yiji's father's iron arm ring is a hot-blooded shoulder, and the hot aftertaste of the breakfast buns is still on the tip of his nose. Jir blocked the queen and roared to crush the iron beast, and the parents on the edge of the family swear that the new battle for the provincial championship begins. Han Zhao's round eyes were still O-shaped and tears were still wet. She jumped into her mother's arms and the bag of potato chips crackled. Her round smile cracked and her cheeks trembled, worshipping Suiji. The captain and queen sealed the sky with iron blood. Pistachio's single smile came back to life. All relying on the energy of potato chips to cover up. And the shooting sisters exploded with thunder from a super long arc. Mom, Crown military potato chips are distributed throughout the school. Mom smiled and pushed the snack box, tears flying. My daughter is laughing at the crisis, the parents are roaring, and the youth of the provincial champion is on fire. The whole team of parents fist stacked their bracelets and jingled. The mist dispersed, the moonlight sprinkled silver, and the warmth of achievement surged into their hearts, and the sound of mocking knives was long gone. Shen Qingqing's introverted figure leaned against Yiji's shoulder. Her detective eyes flashed with confidence, her swollen wrists were cold and biting. She touched the colored rope of her bracelet lightly. Her salty tears dried up with sweat. The leader roared to pieces on the emotional cliff. The three super distant iron beasts of the god's eyes took revenge, and the sisterly bond forever solidified the provincial championship. Mom and Dad, the sharpshooter is no longer wrapped up. When the parents saw the glory of their daughter for the first time, the mother trembled and hugged her tightly, and the fog in her glasses condensed. Qingqing has awakened. The parent-teacher meeting was full of pressure. The whistle sounded, and the confidence was at its peak. Mom and Dad shouted, "Never give up." Dad glanced at the whole team, his voice trembling slightly. The Rockets are the miracle team, and they are looking for future adventures. Shen Qingqing's cheeks were red, and her self-confidence was shattered like an eggshell. Lin Fan's handsome face was dripping with sweat, and his deep eyes were filled with fire. The residual heat of his wolfish nature was still trembling in his fingertips when he controlled the ball. The heartache caused by the technical foul had turned into dust early, and the whistle of the winning assist in his comeback echoed in his ears. His Adam's apple rolled, his handsome fist lightly touched Yiji's bracelet, and the night wind ruffled his bangs with ambiguous warmth. Sister Ji, let go of the rocket first, the provincial champion wolf locks your inner king's roar. After the whistle, the straight ball continues. Yiji's hot-blooded self-esteem melted into a smile, and the ambiguous blush hit her cheeks like fire. She nudged Lin Fan's handsome shoulder, and the bracelet jingled lightly. Handsome controls the wolf nature to kill, the youthful ambiguity whistle sounds. Besides, the new adventure backpack has been opened, and the Rocket sisters are tightening up first. Lin Fan's eyes widened and he trembled in admiration. His handsome lips slightly curled up to hold back the flames. Sister Ji, Rocket's champion. I'm waiting for the whistle to start a new battle. Han Zhao's round eyes popped up and he was at the peak of ambiguity. Pistachios combined with potato chips. The final shot is so sweet. The iron-blooded figure of Qin Feng's wheelchair creaked and grinded into the wet mud of the lawn. His iron whistle held his armpits with a stinging aftertaste. The new tactics paper was soaked in sweat and turned into ashes. The iron whistle miracle continues. The rope lock arc provincial champion. The whole team on the hospital cliff roared to pieces. All thanks to the leadership of Yi Jiho, Shen Qingqing's eye lock, Lin Fan's wolf nature, and Han Xiaoxiao's energy. The iron arm slapped Yi. With Ji Hot's blood on his shoulders, the whole team stared in trembling admiration. Coach Qin is back with iron blood. The new tactics are invincible, and the whistle of youth will ring forever. Qin Feng scanned the dark shadow in the distance with deep eyes, and the premonition of the strongest alliance's pressure was as cold as fog. The aftermath of the championship is over, the reputation of the campus is on the rise, the trivial matters of the backpack are dealt with, the new battle is tightened. The Iron Beast pressure of the alliance, can it be reversed? The bus ride back to campus was bumpy at night, with yellow lights shining on the windows. The championship trophy was placed in the middle seat with a dazzling golden light. The pungent, sweaty, and bloody premonition dissipated into the sweetness of victory. Passers-by and students heard the news and gathered on the side of the playground. Girls with ponytails screamed and waved their mobile phone flashlights like stars. Rocket's provincial champion. Captain Yiji blocked the shot of the queen and roared to pieces. Shen Qingqing, the sharpshooter, locked up Zhao Lei from far away. Lin Fan controlled the final assist and was invincible. The boys punched the air and trembled in admiration. The reversal in the semifinals continues, and the parents will roar. Family Cliff, whistle youth miracle. Yiji blushed with pride, waved the colorful flag, and whistled softly into the night. Sister Rockets, the new adventure of the provincial championship begins. Passers-by stared and whispered. The captain's hot-blooded eyes are so handsome. Lin Fan's eyes are locked, and he is burning with youth. The dormitory building is brightly lit like a celebratory fire. The team members are unpacking their adventure backpacks. The rope coils are ringing. The compass is beeping to calibrate the first aid kit and the ointment is chilly. There are floods of camping memories. Crossing the road on the bus, crossing the river and pulling oaths on cold and wet ropes, and shouting and despairing beside the sweaty fire. Han Zhao's round body bounced on the bed and the potato chips were all over the floor. She swept her backpack with a round-eyed smile. Champion potato chips are full of energy. Fake slip to cover Du Mu's smile. Provincial champion Pistachio is invincible. New tactic rope lock arc to burn the whole school. Shen Qingqing sat inwardly on the bed, scanning the compass with a spying eye. Her wrists were swollen and cold. Confidence turned from pain. She lightly touched the rope of Yiji's backpack. Leader. Camping vows to lock eyes, swollen wrists to revenge 3 super far. Sisters' bracelets jingle forever. Sisters on the emotional cliff burn to ashes. Yiji fisted the rope with hot blood, and the warm current flowed through her arms. The peak self-confidence of a marksman genius. The Rocket Provincial Championship depends on you to lock the arc. Lin Fan's handsome figure flashed through the crack of the door, his deep eyes locked on Yiji's arrogance, holding back the ambiguous fire. He rolled his Adam's apple and handed over a water bottle with cool beads dripping. Sister Ji, my throat is dry and burning after the game. Rockets first. Straight ball, camping forehead. Whistle for a new adventure. My point guard will lock you in. The air in the dormitory is stuffy. The potato chips are sweet and warm, and Yiji's cheeks are flushed with self-esteem. She picks up the water bottle and gently picks up the water bottle with her fingertips. The electric shock was flowing. The handsome control assists heartburn. The more ambiguous the whistle sounds, the sisters' rockets have priority on the edge of the cliff. The bracelet is tightened for a new battle. Lin Fan's handsome face turned pale and turned red. His deep eyes widened and he trembled in admiration, whispering, "Sister Ji, youthful and warm wolfish waiting for the whistle." Han Xiao popped out of the bag of potato chips with round eyes and hit the pillow with laughter. "Handsome guy's ambiguous straight balls are sweet. Pistachio, listen to me. We will match the provincial champion of potato chips." The morning fog on the campus the next day had cleared away, and the bulletin board on the playground was covered with posters of the Rockets' provincial champions. The photo of Yiji covering the gold cup was frozen instantly. The students gathered around and buzzed like a beehive. "Look!" Yijiho knelt down and raised his bracelet to break despair. Shen Qingqing's swollen wrist shot 3 times to lock the iron beast. Lin Fan came back to kill the wolf. Han Zhao's potato chip smiled and came back to cover. The parents' meeting reversed the fever, and Coach Qin's iron whistle returned to miracles. Their legs were weak and trembling as they worshipped. The captain is a hot-blooded and self-respecting queen, and the ambiguous Lin Fan is handsome and controls the god team. The girls screamed and gathered. The sharpshooter Shen Qingqing is confident. The pistachio Han Xiaoyuan has an invincible smile. The rocket is at the top of the campus, and the new adventure backpack is rumored to be hot. Yiji led the team in the morning exercise on the playground. Qin Feng's iron-blooded wheelchair crushed the plastic smell on the playground, and he brandished new tactical drawings with his iron arms. The reputation of the provincial champions is burning, the rockets are locked in the school, and the aftermath is dealt with. The support of the parent-teacher meeting is permanent, the backpack chores are tightened, and the iron beast of the new alliance disappears. The whole team glared and trembled and shouted back, "Coach Qin, the iron whistle!" The miracle continues, and the new battle is reversed with the whistle. Han Zhao's potato chip energy. Potato chips, the box is full, and the new adventure is bursting with laughter. Shen Qingqing looked at the arc of the eye lock drawing, and the bracelet flashed. The divine eye is super locked, and the sister leader roars. Lin Fan pinched the figure and took a deep breath of fog and coldness. The wolf nature is slow to control, Sister Ji's inner king is burning. Yiji punched the whole team, and the colorful rope of the bracelet tightened the palm. The provincial champion's fruit is tight, the reputation and status are youthful. The adventure backpack is open, and the miracle continues. Outside the gymnasium, the championship trophy is wrapped in golden light in the windy night. The expedition backpack unfolds the rope and the compass is beeping. The whole team fists and bracelets are sworn. The parents shout back to Qin Feng and clap with his iron arm. The miracle continues, a new battle for youth? The strongest alliance in the distance is looming, and the whistle is about to sound. Can it be reversed? Yiji and Lin Fan were walking side by side. Their adventure backpacks were trembling slightly on their shoulders, and the ambiguous air was filled with hot and fragrant flowers. His handsome hand lightly touched her arm, and an electric current ran through her. Sister Ji, after the provincial championship. The camping forehead is resting, the rocket whistle is a new chapter. The straight ball likes the wolf lock? Yiji's blood flushed and her self-esteem was warm. She stopped and locked eyes with him and trembled. Handsome control. The ambiguity burns her heart. Chaos, the sister cliff is the first, and the youth is warm. Han Zhao's round shadow suddenly scurried behind the tree. Wow! Ambiguous and sweet, the pistachio eavesdropped. Shen Qingqing smiled inwardly. Sisters, new adventure and love. The aftermath of the parent-teacher meeting was like a warm sun shining on the school gate. The parents waved their snack boxes and roared into applause. Yiji's father slapped his daughter with an iron arm. The champion family roars for ashes, whistles for youth and parents' backup. Shen Qingqing's parents tearfully pushed up their glasses. The genius daughter shoots the lock, and the parents are so stressed. Believe me, at the top. Lin Fan's father nodded handsomely and said with deep eyes. The boy's wolfishness is back, and the rocket priority father knows the ambiguous warmth. Han Zhao's mother smiled and said, the whole family is the winner of the happy-go-lucky daughter. Qin Feng's iron whistle blew and the whole school buzzed. The sunset poured blood red like lava into the campus square, and the sharp broadcast whistle cut through the sky and echoed into a youthful frenzy. The Rocket women's basketball team's provincial championship celebration will start immediately. Captain Yiji leads the team with sharpshooters Shen Qingqing, Wolf Lin Fan, Kai Xinghua Han Xiao. The whole team comes on stage. Students from the whole school rushed in like a tide. The screams of the girls with ponytails on the playground broke the air. The flashes of mobile phones poured down like a rainstorm, and the crumbs of potato chips and the sour smell of sweat mixed into the sweet mist of the victory carnival. On the bulletin board poster, the gold cup was frozen at the moment when Yiji blocked the shot, and Zhao Lei Tiezong's collapsed face twisted into a shadow of ashes. Passers-by boys were shaking as if their legs were weak and knelt down and worshipped. Rocket gods! The provincial championship reversed and burned the history of the school. The whistle sounded and the miracle locked up. Yiji's passionate blood. The figure leads the team onto the temporary podium, the colorful rope of the bracelet squeezing her palms as warm and painful as fire. She deeply inhales the smell of plastic and grass wrapped in the residual heat of the sunset. Fists stacked and the whole team roars. Sister Rocket, tighten your bracelets. The provincial championship is not the end. The whistle of the new adventure continues. The climax of the celebration was like a volcano erupting. Qin Feng's iron-blooded wheelchair creaked onto the edge of the stage. The iron whistle pinched his armpits and stung. He waved the new tactical drawings with his iron arms, and his voice was as hoarse as sandpaper grinding iron. Recall the second half of the final. The score was 45-43 behind. The thunderous iron beast pressed the situation. Zhao Leihua laughing and mocking the broken candle of the rocket. The pressure of the parent-teacher meeting was like gravel rolling down the cliff, and the despair of the whole team was like being swallowed up by the night. The whole audience gasped and buzzed. Han Zhao's O-shaped eyes widened and he crushed the potato chip bag, trembling and whispering. At that moment, the pistachio legs were weak, the energy of the potato chips was exhausted, and the fake slip was hidden. The protection failed, and the iron beast was locked under the basket. Shen Qingqing's introverted figure shrank her shoulders, her swollen wrists flashed with cold and stinging memories. She bit her lips lightly. The eyes of the gods are locked in the mist. The ultra-long three-pointer feels like cotton. The bonds of sisters are shaking on the edge of emotion. Lin Fan's handsome face turned pale and his eyes were hidden. Fire, his Adam's apple rolled and he clenched his fist. The technical foul of the Wolf Point guard is ashes, and the heart is numb, and the dream of the winning assist is shattered. The parents at the parents' table burst into tears and clenched the snack box, and Yiji's dad's iron arms trembled. My daughter blocked the queen and roared to pieces to shatter the family's doubts, and the parents on the edge of the cliff were heartbroken. The desire to rise was first suppressed to the bottom. Qin Feng's iron whistle blew fiercely across the sky and screamed. The whole place was as silent as a tomb. The scene flashed back to the foggy stadium. The whistle sounded to start the second half. The thunder iron beast roared to lead the points. Zhao Lei smiled ferociously. Han Zhao's round body was knocked away, and the smell of potato chips hit her nostrils. She fell to the ground and cried out in tears. Pistachio! I can't laugh at the bottom of Rocket Cliff. The audience mocked the sound of knives like rain. Transfer student Shen Qingqing is a genius? Leader Ji roared. The provincial championship dream was shattered. Yiji's eyes were red and her pride was shattered. She roared and her throat was hoarse. Sisters, tighten your bracelets. The whistle sounded the reversal. But at the end of the first quarter, the iron beast blocked her layup. The ball hit the frame with a loud clang, and the whole team knelt down in despair. The parents shouted and became suspicious. Exercise is a waste of schoolwork, and the pressure is on the verge of suspension. Lin Fan's deep eyes widened and he trembled weakly. The wolf nature can't lock the inner king of Sister Ji. The side support exploded and Qin Feng's iron arm beat the stage in shock. At that moment the whole team collapsed. But Yiji's hot-blooded fist pinched the whistle to keep it warm, and the colored rope of her bracelet strangled the blood mark. She stood up and shouted to break the night. Rocket's first sisters of emotional cliff locked up. The flashback accelerated. Yiji counterattacked wildly to steal the iron beast. The night wind brought sweat and blood. She knocked Zhao Lei away from the inside, and the queen of the block shot shocked Liang Chun. The iron beast kneels down. The passers-by stared wide-eyed and screamed. Captain's passionate and self-respecting queen. The shot burned through the iron net. Lin Fan's wolfish nature rekindled, and he passed the ball like a laser, and his handsome body locked Shen Qingqing. Master shot! The swollen wrist locked the arc. Shen Qingqing's introverted eyes exploded, and the three-point arc of the divine eye exploded like thunder, and the net bag rang crisply, 45:43. The parents of the team burst into tears, and the mothers pounced on their daughters. The genius awakens. The pressure is gone. Han Zhao's rebounds exploded with potato chips, and he pretended to slide to cover and exploded the crisis. Pistachios are resurrected. Potato chips separate the iron beasts. Qin Feng roared on the sidelines with an iron whistle that broke his lips in blood. The rope lock arc new tactics are burning. The whistle sounded at the end of the final, and the provincial championship gold cup was reversed at 45:43. The gold cup hit the stage and the metal felt cold in the palms. The whole audience burst into tears and hugged each other. Friendship bracelets jingled and shone like stars. Zhao Leitai Beast fell to his knees and collapsed. Passers-by laughed at the hive. Thunder Gray. The rocket's miracle whistle locked up. At the celebration the whole school roared, punched the air and trembled in admiration. Yi Zhiho's leadership shattered despair. Shen Qingqing's peak shot, Lin Fan's wolf-like killing, Han Xiaoxiao's energy, Coach Qin's iron blood. Yi Zhi blushed with passion and became warm. Her self-esteem melted into tears. She hugged the team's bracelets and fisted. Bite the provincial championship fruit tightly. Roar to pieces next to the camping oath fire. The parent-teacher meeting is turned into ashes, and a new adventure begins. The aftermath of the parent-teacher meeting celebrations was filled with warm sunshine in the square. The parents opened their snack boxes and scattered the sweet potato chips. They threw themselves at their daughter with tears in their eyes. Championship. Sports support shatters doubts about schoolwork and family support is forever. Yi Zhi's father's arms wrapped around his shoulders and the hot aftertaste of breakfast buns. Zhir covers the queen, and parents swear to whistle for a new war. Shen Qingqing's parents pushed up their glasses, the mist condensed, and their tears trembled and hugged. The genius of the transfer student shoots 3 long-range shots. The pressure is shattered and the confidence is shattered. The parents roar. Lin Fan's father is handsome and has deep eyes. The wolf-like straight ball is back, the ambiguous rocket is the priority, and the father understands the warmth. Han Zhao's mother's round smile potato chips exploded. The pistachio daughter burst into laughter. The whole family won the championship. Qin Feng's iron whistle blew in the air, and the whole family's fists were stacked and buzzed to resolve all conflicts, and the sound of taunting knives had long since turned into ashes. At the ambiguous climax, the dappled sunlight on the tree-lined avenue lengthened the shadow of the backpack. Lin Fan's handsome figure stood shoulder to shoulder with Yi Zhi. The adventure backpack shoulder was lightly trembling as the ropes rubbed against each other. His Adam's apple rolled and his deep eyes locked onto her flushed cheeks. Sister Zhi after the provincial championship whistle. Camping forehead dam, straight balls like wolfish nature and are heart-burning. Rockets are priority but the warmth of youth cannot be locked in. The air was filled with ambiguous currents, and Yi Zhi's hot-blooded self-esteem game hit her like a tide. She stopped and locked her eyes with trembling eyes, a blush spreading on her cheeks. Handsome control. The final assist was ambiguous, and after Sister Ye was released first, the whistle sounded, and the procedure was completed. Lin Fan's handsome hand gently grasped her palm, and the electricity flowed through her arms. His deep eyes widened in admiration and he trembled and whispered, Sister Zhi, youth is so sweet.
Han Shao you owning.
Potato chips popped out from behind the tree and smashed the pillow, making him laugh loudly. Wow! The straight ball confession was successful and we burned it hand in hand. Pistachio matched the potato chips and distributed them to the whole school. Shen Qingqing flashed introspectively and showed her spying eyes, smiling confidently. Sisters, the peak of their emotional locks and their everlasting smiles. The night light in the dormitory dimmed the bed, and the team members spread out to pack their adventure backpacks. The ropes were coiled and rattling, the compass was beeping and pointing to the distance of the black mist, and the first aid kit and ointment were chilly and mixed with the memories of the cold and wet camping trip, crossing the river, and the sweaty oaths made by the fire. Han Zhao's round-bodied bouncing potato chips filled the floor with a smile that cracked his cheeks. Champion potato chips are full of energy. Fake smiles to explode new adventures. Pistachios are invincible. Shen Qingqing sat on the bedside and scanned the needle with a piercing eye, and touched Yiji lightly with his bracelet jingle. The leader roars to shatter the shell. The sharpshooter's swollen wrists are confident in revenge. The sister bracelets will never be separated. And the new adventure is arc-burning. Yiji fisted the rope with passion to achieve warmth. The pinnacle of genius depends on you. Your eyes are as far as the rocket fire. Lin Fanshui flashed through the door and handed a water bottle to his fingertips. He was electrocuted. Sister Ji, hold hands and the whistle continues. The Wolf Point Guard's new battle will lock you in the king. The air in the dormitory was warm with sweet and ambiguous potato chips, and the door of Qin Fengtie's wheelchair creaked. The backpack is tightened. The provincial championship reputation is at the peak of the campus. The parents' support is permanent, and the team's growth miracle continues. The whole team's fists stacked on their bracelets and the colored ropes strangled their palms in pain and warmth. Qin Feng scanned the black mist with deep eyes and felt a cold stab. The iron beast of the strongest alliance is hiding in the background, and the new cliff of the school is waiting for the whistle to reverse? Han Xiaoyuan's eyes widened and he trembled. Potato chips laugh and explode the alliance. Shen Qingqing glanced at the eye lock and turned to smile confidently. 3 super long-distance locks with divine eyes. Lin Fan pinched the picture deeply with his handsome fists sucked the night dew. The slow control wolf nature seduces Sister Ji into the inner king. Yiji's hot-blooded eyes pierce the night sky, and her self-esteem melts into a warm wave. The leaders of the Rocket Sisters roar to pieces, open the adventure backpack, and the whistle of the youth miracle will ring forever. The whole team roared back and the bracelets jingled like stars in the night, and passers-by and students screamed and worshipped at the window. Legend of the God Team. The new battle will make school history. The smoke and sweat from the remaining fires in the square have cleared away in victory. The snack boxes of parents are pulling for eternal support, and the gold cup of campus posters is set to burn forever. Yiji held Lin Fan's palms and felt an ambiguous warmth. Shen Qingqing's smile bloomed with divine brilliance. Han Zhao's potato chips bounced and exploded with laughter, and Qin Feng's iron whistle foreboded a new battle. The whole team carried compasses on their backpacks and beeped wildly in the dark fog. Whistles blew softly in the sky as a prelude. Youthful adventures began anew, and the bonds of friendship were tightened and never loosened. The iron beast of the distant alliance roars faintly. Rockets rocket, and the whistle sounds. Can the reversal continue to reach the top of the inter-school competition? The fire of achievement bursts into the night sky. Readers are filled with excitement and satisfaction, and the miracle is yet to be completed. The cool night breeze outside the school gate made the adventure backpack tremble. Yiji turned around with enthusiasm and the whole team locked eyes. Summary of the provincial championship. The camping cliff broke into pieces. The pressure of the parent-teacher meeting was reduced to ashes. The reversal in the finals burned through the iron beast, and growth is like a golden cup that warms the heart. Shen Qingqing's introverted voice was confident and loud. The awakening of the marksman depends on the sisters, and the bracelet jingles and the emotion is permanent. Lin Fan's handsome lips curled up with ambiguity. The wolf nature holds the whistle. The voice continues, the new battle is locked. Han Xiaoyuan laughed and said, the pistachio energy is endless. Qin Feng patted his shoulder with an iron arm. The iron-blooded team, the miracle of youth is complete. The new chapter is full of suspense. The whole team hugged and burst into tears. The colorful strings of their bracelets flashed in the moonlight. The zipper of the backpack closed. The tip of the compass pointed firmly to the unknown. The lingering sound of the whistle lingered. The legend of the Rockets is passed on to the campus forever. The adventure continues, and the friendship is immortal. The blood-red sunset stretched the shadow of the backpack, and the campus broadcast whistle echoed. Rocket Province Championship Celebration. Led by Captain Yiji. A new adventure begins. The whole school roared and burst into admiration. The shadow of the strongest alliance of iron beasts in the distance pressed closer to the black mist. The compass beeped wildly, and the whistle was about to sound. Can the miracle of youth reverse the new cliff? The whole team stacked their bracelets and fists. The fire of achievement burst into the night sky, and the bonds of friendship were tightened and never loosened.